Здорово, ебать. Здорово, ебать. Так, ПМПЛ Арабия. Где это? Вот она.
So 100 points across 3 days with 5 matches.
А он
each.
чё?
Shout
Ага,
out to
да.
quick math, but whatever
Так, а
100
она
divided
чё?
by 15 is, right? I think that is the average points they need to get per match
Он.
to try to jump over that spot.
Yeah, we're kind of looking at about that 7-8 points per game kind of mark average for these teams. But as we said, we got 15 games to monitor for these teams all to play, and we're going to start it off with our first 5 today. Being a
Я сегодня подготовился. Не с пустыми руками, между прочим. Не как в прошлый раз. Между играми не придется уходить за пивом.
So we talked about teams that do really well in Miramar, right? And that's going to be the likes of Conquer Iraq, like Twisted Mind. We just saw them from last week and just really dominant on this map. And maybe one of the reasons why they didn't do so well this past, I mean, Conquer didn't qualify. Twisted Mind, I want to say barely qualified.
Скажу, что ВП также будет, ну да, что-то видел. Странно, на самом деле. Они же вроде что-то не проходили там. Я не смотрел.
Yeah, I think Miramar definitely going to change up a lot of these teams, as we said.
Видимо, второй шанс получили. Но во всяком случае, это только плюс для нас. Интереснее будет смотреть.
Who now need to come back again, of course, in this Super Weekend and perform even higher with their expectations on this map. I think, though, having that range also. Gonna have to see how teams, of course, like Skyrocket, like Falcons, also do, because they haven't had this opportunity to play in the Super Weekend. So playing in this,
все каналы засрались этим клатчем, а я так и не посмотрел.
New once more to them.
Да, видишь, что все, пока. Привет, Влада. Не, я давно уже не мажор проект. Уже давно.
And Road to Glory, I mean, Sandhog, like we said, is their map to play, where they won 2 of them 2 days ago, and they got a 2nd or 3rd place in that last match as well. Now we only have 1 Sandhog per day instead of 3, so I think it's going to be, I don't know, Road to Glory. I want to see how they're going to come back from this, if they can still compete really high without the kind of clutch factor of Sandhog.
And of course, as we are heading into our first game,
ебать вопросы, почему шел
we also had to keep in mind
Жарги больше нет.
Чем-то
занимаюсь?
I think you also had to look as well
как
as
ничем.
PK and Power, who, as we jump into that
Пиво
first
пью.
match, also were doing very well in those league stage days.
Так, что, погнали?
For Power, one of those, I think, underdog teams that we could argue
разбирай
coming
споты.
into this. They were a new organization stepping up, but they've done very well for themselves alongside GK.
Здесь карты.
Power was sitting at number 1 the
Вот, пожалуйста, тебя. Разбирай.
Week play from Monday, Tuesday this last week, right? And I was so impressed from them.
Стриминг для уников? Так что? Ну, типа, контракт с униками закончился. Это сам по себе. Самолет опять супер уебищный. На супервиках почему-то самолеты какие-то, блядь, непонятные. Причем все прошлые самолеты на супервик, ну, на прошлом супервике были нормальные для прайдов. Вот это какой-то каловый.
And I think a super weekend, as we said, so crucial for these.
Они, наверное, в арепку полетят или куда?
If you are just joining us, Kurt12, Skyrocket, Falcons, all stepping up with 0 points right
Пока
now
непонятно.
in the standings overall from the super
Да, вот вижу.
So they all
Летят.
need those extra points. I think having though teams like Conqueror 90th out right now, also Oridu, we could actually argue that SF Island is another one of those locations, being with this playing path, that is now opened up to these teams. And I'm curious to see
ебать!
Skyrocket and Pride taking up those
Сюда нахуй. Сюда просто. Короче, пацанам просто надо занимать перекресток и сидеть нахуй 5 зон там. Займут перекресток, возможно, выиграют игру, чекайте. Нормально, нормально. Возможно, на первых 2 зонах можно сплетануться перекресток с РЛС-кой. Нормально, не ошибка.
So we're going to come all the way down to Novo. And then also kind of on that same island you mentioned Skyrocket, they are able to identify Rito Thunders. They're not in the super weekend. So they're just going to take up this open spot, really nice spot. And especially seeing this kind of circle, they set themselves up so well.
Really nice
I think as well, this zone, we got to mention it, Monica, is all the way on the south side as well. It's an absolute brutal zone for these teams beginning this first Super Weekend. It is going to favor, I think, a lot of these teams overall because they are based on that playing path very close to the zone. To begin with, teams already, of course, have made that journey like Skyrocket Major all the way down to that South Island already. But that Eastern Bridge going to be a very interesting point of contention for these teams.
Сейчас я вентилятор себе поставлю, в скобочках обогреватель.
The team did tell me they give them nicknames for some of these players. Here's some mad LOL from the team speaker. Which I think it's funny because just coming from knowing managing teams and stuff, some of these players they can be not the most extroverted of people. But when these tournament organizers they ask the teams like, hey, we would like to get an interview from your team, it's usually if you notice it's usually always the same person that kind of gets designated, the one that.
Не, на первых зонах, если видят, что перекресток занят, туда не залетают на первых зонах. 99%. Если там не фул ебобо какие-нибудь. Ага, так. Так, ага, так. Есть. Хорошо, Номи нельзя, нокаться нельзя. Похилься.
Twisted Minds already getting punished on that early rotation here.
И ранние пташки у нас.
Brilliant for Major to actually have this adaptation to realize that teams would be coming this early on and be able to camp that bridge appropriately.
Pride, you know, this is not where they really know the area, right? They land on the opposite.
Ну куда? Ну куда ты тимпом, блядь, пикаешь? Что ты делаешь с тимпом? На такой дистанции. Тиммейтов ждать надо. Балдеть ждать тиммейтов. Не, конечно, не перекрестки ехали, они просто мост переезжали. То есть, типа, тут пройди сами в агрессию сыграли. Они могли тачки стакнуть в перекрестке, ну и просто показывать всем своим видом, что перекресток занят. И после моста, скорее всего, челики бы свернули куда-нибудь.
Intention, you see teams as well in that kill feed going to be likely taking themselves down. I actually think that it's a brilliant, interesting rotation through from.
Они что-то супер рано поехали. Прям очень рано. Ага, отлично.
What was the thought process in that they knew they were being camped here by the likes of Pride, but they still sent one in the car out wide and gets, you know, knocked and flushed immediately in the middle of the bridge. So Pride, I mean, they can do the math in their head right there.
Вот охуенный угол.
Another knock onto one, and right now, Highland Wolf, it's only Ragnarok left alive on the bridge.
It's a disaster for Twisted Minds in this first game, and it might just look like Biggles will be taken out. Ragnarok is far away from the bridge overall, so should be able to divert themselves back to that main point of a wrangle, but it's a horrible series of disasters right now for Twisted Minds. Again, we've got to mention the triple also making the power through. There is a third team, I believe, for Monica, and you see this fighting begin to come out. It's power. They're also falling to the hands of Skyrocket on that western bridge too.
Арабы, наверное, такие все такие, ой, блядь, не повезло. Ну ёб твою мать, ну как так? Ну ладно, в следующий раз точно повезет. Если в следующий раз точно так же на ранних таймингах поедут и пизды получат на мосту.
Stairwells on the sides of the bridge. That's something completely new, by the way, in the most latest Wrangle update. It just adds another dimension. Before it was just straight bridge. You know, if you're caught on the bridge, you're just driving off into the waters, right, to avoid it. You can't really do that now, but now you can kind of play these boxes, play these stairwells. But we see Ragnarok where he's running away from Pride. He's now stayed a little bit too long here, and Curd 12 is coming up onto the.
А все, чел. Бежать некуда.
Early rotations, Monica, happening by these teams, and it was brilliant as well as we said. Skyrocket here on this western side have also done the same right as Major Pride.
Так, на второй мост тут тоже веселье происходит.
Able to punish now triple, stall them out. They've already taken 3 out of the members of Power Esports too. Now
Не, я с Бертом уже давно не живу.
You have the problem again of these teams on the bridge very
Берт в Краснодар уехал.
Are they going to get camped by more of these teams later rotating in if they can't get past squads like Major or Skyrocket now?
Bridge sandwich here as Triple Esports sends
Втроем
one
просто на одной
right to
стороне.
Skyrocket, and that was just an unfortunate crash and a burn. Looks like he's going to get flushed out here as the rest of Triple Esports maybe having the same kind of fate as Twisted Minds on the other side of the bridges. Gonna be Skyrockets though. Remember, this is their first super weekend, right? Coming in hot and heavy and trying to get as many points as possible. As now it's kind of a little bit of a stalemate situation. We can see in the miniature map, Skyrocket sending one out wide.
Блять, арабы столько времени играют вместе? Друг против друга? Что должны наизусть уже знать, кто закрывает мосты. Что они же до хрена составок уже отыграли. Все равно не прутся все. СНГ во всю сайгу, да, я видел. Ну, походу, что, у нас конченый метод с дробовиками сейчас будет.
Triple esports clever. I mean, I think these teams they're well aware of the kind of angles that are incorporated now with this new bridge.
Ты еще не успеешь в кем зайти, тебе уже ебало разнесут с дробовика. Дробовики сильная штука. Ну все, просто попасть надо, если проблема.
They're all stacked here, right? There's no off angles with triple esports to provide themselves a little bit of cover, a little bit of advantage. They're all just kind of.
Не, арабы не тупые, у них просто плейстайл такой. Им типа норм.
Oh, the cheeky shot, so getting clever easy through that undertow
Здорово,
of the
Дылда.
staircase. Won't be able to find it for now, but you can see the damage tick did reveal their position, so a molly will also be sent through to bail out the potential engagement of triple. You've got to also check out, I think, some of these other teams who didn't go for the bridges. In squads like R82 Monica, going back all the way up to the side of Georgia Pole, you've also got teams up like Gallus of Severny, going to be a mega rotation at these.
Не, смотрите, я уже вчера, по-моему, говорил, но я не на стриме это говорил. Короче, суть в том, то, что у дробовика в дробин, ну, в одной дроби там, по-моему, 5 или 6 патронов. А с юмпа, когда стреляешь, у тебя типа один патрон вылетает. И там что зарегает, то зарегает. А с дробовика, если ты попадешь, там, ну, если у тебя не все загреет, там 3-4 точно пули у тебя должно регнуть. И в теории шанс нокнуть больше. Приветром. Поэтому дробовики в целом норм тема. Но это сейчас мы опять рассматриваем сторону с техническими неполадками, опять же. А если все попасть, ну, все регнет, то дробовик, ну, опять же, только так ебало оторвет. Просто единственная проблема, то, что эффективность дробовика, чел буквально вот отходит там на сколько, ну, на 5 метров, все, ты ничего с этим дробовиком не сделаешь, у него любая ППшка тебя перестреляет. Поэтому только вперед, только на лицо заезжать.
Section of the river. There's probably
Что с нами случилось? Нормально?
Playable land in here. So some of these teams, especially the ones
Европу
that
играть
aren't on
будут.
the military base island yet, are neither going to send it into the water like the only one is doing now. This is one of those teams that ended up, I think, kind of right at the bottom. Yeah, the very bottom. 70 points found in the last super weekend. So they're going to be needing to get across and hope that nobody is camping them on the opposite bridge as Yala coming in now, and I mean they're still trying to find a foothold somewhere to call home.
I actually think the other one, making a slight mistake rotating so early on, I would argue that they could have actually capitalized on the fact that zone still is there. A team's going to be rotating towards them. They may look to try and take both sides.
Бля, чат, объясните, пожалуйста, мне впадло.
They're going to be the first point of pressure that Major Price.
О, смотрите, какая большая чипсина, просто гигантская.
Solo team coming in because no team really has come forward. They actually are lucky though that Major have now diverted themselves from Novo back up to the bridge to try and
Уровень игры арабов,
that location that
ну,
teams could be
если честно, так
so
себе.
the little bit of luck coming through from the only one in that
Не всех, но
90%,
ну окей, не там, процентов 80 арабских команд вообще не понимают, что происходит. Это дичь творят. Но опять же, типа их такой плейстайл, они привыкли так играть, и в целом для их региона это норм. Но если сравнивать с нашим там регионом или там с той же самой Турцией, то это вообще пиздец.
To come across the bridge behind the backs of GK, one of the teams at the very, very top of the standing. So both these two teams not really prioritizing the rotation, but now Freak having to come on back and not really knowing that he fell right into the laps of an entire full team.
Of course, Modi's still there in front, but you can see the difficulty of Nigma right now is they are so split, all of them. They've rotated at a time so late now that every other one of these teams is going to be also doing the same. And they almost take each other out, Monica, actually, because by doing so, all of these fights in the blue for now, they're not only going to lose out on their ability to get through the bridge, which is going to be an entirely new issue in the future for them, but they're going to lose players, they're going to lose health right now currently as well. It is only going to make that
Что там сейчас на мостах происходит, интересно? Я бы сейчас карту глянул. Интересно, что пройти там делают. Они встали перекресток.
Bring as many resources into the end, right? If that's resources of meds, of armor, of just people on your team into the end, and by taking this fight here, they're already, you know, halfway health. You see Amity now falling to the likes of R8 a little bit further onto the bridge.
О, они, кстати, стали таким сплитом, как я и сказал. Ну, только они 3-1 стали. Все, нормально. Надо Ену срочно стакаться вниз. Вообще там нет смысла уже сидеть. Просто стягиваться на перекресток, стакаться и сидеть чилить дальше. Да, на мостах пиздец. Если позовут работать спектатором, я бы с удовольствием. Мне прям очень понравилось. Только не спектатором, а режиссером спектаторов. Потому что мне лучше получается режиссерить, чем самому летать.
Players are now going to associate you casting with these kind of crazy
exactly every time
zones. Exactly, that's exactly what I want. Exactly.
Спектаторы у них тоже пьяные. Точнее, там и спектаторы пьяные, и режиссер спектаторов пьяный, и там им вообще показывают такой бред.
Because the circle is going to be a definite crazy one. R8 though, they've made it across the bridge after collecting that one elimination on Hamady, and now hugging that northern side and.
Виста опять нет, не, Виста забей, все, забудь вообще.
And I like the Major Pride as well, stepping back, of course, into Novo. So they are
Они что были, что их нет.
Slower rotation of the only one. They have also the only one just beached now onto Novo. So they are going to have that ability to get inside of the city because Major Pride did rotate away.
Лейс, который типа на оливковом масле. Ходил сейчас перек, они там по акции были. Не удержался, взял под пивко.
A lot of them have rotated to that eastern side. Of course, the zone shifting there as well. But I think that actually teams who are still focusing on that western bridge side, like GK, actually have a better time rotating. Yes, they're going to tank the zone for more, but look at the players on that eastern side and the cluster that they are all in.
Не, это не с печи, это... Блин, как это называется? Nature. Lace Nature. С оливковым маслом, сырфета и базилик. Навіть тяжелее будет в Ю? Не знаю, посмотрим. Я давно вообще не видел их. Очень давно. Мне самому капец будет интересно смотреть. Поэтому Европу я буду, скорее всего, почаще подрубать, чем Турцию. Ой, чем Турцию, чем арабов. Не, база не будет, у базы дела сегодня. Сегодня в соло. Я не знаю, может кто-нибудь залетит. Ну, с днем рождения, чё? Поздравляю с днем рождения. На год ближе к смерти. Не пересекать по расписанию? Так, ну, у меня же свое расписание есть, я же работаю еще. Мне просто главное, чтобы там не пересекалось расписание. Так, сейчас прок будет? Ага, отлично, все. Найс. Я сказал, что они 5 зон будут сидеть, вот вам, пожалуйста. Здорово, здорово.
Look, last time I checked, Monica, lifeguards didn't have grenades they sent into your face when you come back out of water. I mean, Falcons, they certainly seem to be the more aggressive kind, as Cur12 still trying to hold this bridge.
Сидит, охуел. Ему вообще похуй, у него хаешка взорвалась в упоре. Коту тупо поебать. В субботу-воскресенье не работаю.
Dodges out the vehicle. Mohammed trying to find two, but will only find a 1-for-1 trade as Never Alone.
Я работаю. Ну, с тир 2 командой СНГшной. Все так же. Тренер Аналитик. Как уже Сайгу активно юзает, мы уже обсуждали это. Сейчас мета дробашей потихонечку приходит.
Because trying to find something, but it just won't be their side of anything. It is Falcons clean, slow, quick fight taken through now, but they are able to make that fast rotation, as we say, in onto the bridge. They've got a lot of rotating to do because inside the zone, R8 seem like
Типа плывут, но да, ты не видел, что на мостах происходит? Мне кажется, когда у тебя такой пиздец на всех мостах, то самое правильное решение это просто плыть. Потому что какая разница, один хуй, что тебе так пиздец по мостам поедешь, что так. Хоть какой-то шанс будет, что ты доплывешь.
Only one, quite the disastrous situation Zion has put himself in, and like you said, I mean, if I was him, he's barely just got the edge of the circle, maybe creep on in, but I think it's kind of the waiting game for him, but I don't know if those grenades are gonna allow him any more time in this lobby. But let's switch over onto Novo 4K Esports, swimming on the backs of Twisted Minds and Rad. They're not gonna let anyone ashore on this side of the circle.
Contrary to popular belief, Monica,
А вышку, кстати, что-то никто не занял у них, я смотрю. Мне кажется, вот на таких зонах очень имбово занимать вышку и как раз-таки воду полить сидеть. Можно не обязательно просто стрелять оттуда, ты просто лежишь, ты попочекаешь и всю инфу даешь тиммейтам, что вообще у тебя вокруг происходит.
That Egg will be able to provide some form of extra protection, a tier 3 gear, crucial for 4K actually coming in onto this more pure side, because it will need extra defense, all that they can muster. Because they are going to be at the mercy, as we see, of every single one of these players on the lands.
Никогда не поменяю юмскар на дробаш. Ну, когда тебе пару раз ебало разорвут с дробовика в упоре, посмотрим, как ты заговоришь. Когда ты с юмпом выйдешь на дробовик. Или со скаром. Ой, какой шикарный темпо пройдет. Главное, чтобы не в наваре. Главное, чтобы не в наваре проколо. Куда угодно, любая зона хорошая, только не на варе. Да, в принципе, на варе могут выйти, но это будет самое сложное просто для них. Блять, на варе, сука. Ладно, смотрите. Типа, сейчас что происходит? Закрывает всю спину. Вот этих всех закрывают. Потому что здесь, по сути, негде играть, ну, только в амбаре. Закрывают всю спину, и потом последние заходят либо через верх. Ну, блин, здесь вот эти челики, скорее всего, будут играть. Напрямую идти. Главное, чтобы вот эти вот не закрывали. Повезло, что их трое. Что тройку можно будет выпушить, что там не фулка сидит. Посмотрим, ладно, что дальше будет. Сейчас вообще двигаться не надо.
Down towards that more south side of the mountain. The rest of those teams, though, they're gonna have to come in towards the city.
Благо кемп хороший.
Split in between who goes into more of that edge of the coastal line versus more towards the hillside. Because you can see Novo, the tricky part about it is it in the middle of that compound, there is that big open space between the warehouses and, of course, where that hill meets.
Yeah, the dividing lines in this end circle are really going to show us which teams pick the better positions. We see, however, Enigma Galaxy losing one after another. Again, they had 4K, just one ascended up onto the beach line a little bit earlier and is able to just find him as he turtles up for a little bit of oxygen. However, 4K still at 3, but turning their sights onto Road to Glory, who have finally made their way onto this.
Вы это видели? Что там происходит?
Beginning to rotate, of course, through that hillside.
Там два нока?
I don't think they're going to go for a fast rotation.
А чё, в смысле?
Trying to allow the rest of the pressure of these other teams to come out on top first.
Чё?
4K. I don't think they spotted
Как?
this player of Enigma behind him. But you can see
Вы видели, что происходит в киллфиде? На, пока, попей. Пройды... Все? Пройды закончились, что? А как? Не, ямки есть справа, я знаю, но чтобы дойти до этих ямок, надо же по опену пробежать. Надо за кемпом пройти, чтобы в ямки идти зайти. Нихуя непонятно. Но пройдов, походу, выпушили. И нам это вообще не показали. Пиздец. Что там произошло, я вообще не понял. Как можно было так подпустить 50 типов?
And it's a disaster for 4K. We said he needs to check behind him, but as Lord makes their presence known, will also fall down. 12 eliminations.
Они причем в ноль просто, они в ноль в салат выпушили. Никого вообще не потеряли, вот просто в ноль.
Super Weekend run, and they needed this boost, Monica, but they've still got a lot of work to do. Falcons have also made
Куда смотрели, что делали, непонятно.
right to the opposite end of Novo, now contesting Rod, but you can see Rod has such an elevated point of view on this fight, and they need to remove Desha. They do
Пиздец.
crucial to remove the height advantage
Обидно.
that Rod did have in this fight.
Yeah, definitely really important play there. But Falcons, I mean, we just saw the circle shift, and I was really concerned for that because they kind of funneled themselves into this watchtower.
Я
and there's
понимаю, что
not
их выбили
really
с
a
кемпа.
way like,
Но там
Rad has, they can just go
Там просто такой кемп, что его надо очень постараться, чтобы выбить. Прям очень постараться. А если там сидит фулка, надо, блядь, x2 постараться, чтобы его выбить.
with the circle shifting across noble crates from them.
Но
They sent it.
они выбили вообще, типа, 0 потерь. Они, по-моему, даже ног ни одного не дали.
Да,
Да, наверное, на реплее покажут, но что-то вообще какая-то жесть. Я ни хера не понял.
The smokes as well dissipated through from Falcons, so their engagement window has now gone, and they're back to square one in this fight. But it only gets worse because the zone has gone away from them now, and it's Rad all with the control. But a quick punish through onto Kaito. Can they find Desha as well? No, gets behind the crate line. For now, will keep themselves alive. But Rad seemed like
У меня есть подозрение, что просто они не все закрывали спину, и там смотрел только 1-2 человека. А когда к ним уже подъехали, их просто не успели, ну, тиммейты не успели стянуться, и все, пиздец. Вот это говорит о том, что всегда, когда у тебя закрывается зона, ты сидишь кемпе на краю, тебе всегда нужно, блядь, чуть ли не фулкой сидеть и просто смотреть спину до талого, прям пока у тебя зона уже не подойдет.
No mercy for them.
В любой момент какие-нибудь бобы могут приехать и тебя выпушить. Вот пример.
To try to soar into this final stages as these teams, I mean, we got 7 teams left in this tiny circle as Skyrockets. Now only 2 up. They had to cross the roadside and have been met unwelcomingly by R8 and Triple Esports.
all together, and I think the one location that none of the triple members can really.
Один чел
reach
только,
with.
а трое куда смотрели? Трое в центр зоны стреляли просто? В центр карты? Охуенно, чё. Класс.
Rocket sending some back of their own as R8 as well.
Молодцы.
In between the two
Стреляли?
separate buildings on the side to avoid that contact. All of these teams crunched in onto each other, but none of them can really move right now. Skyrocket, though, as you can see, the moment they step outside of that building, try to make those rotations, triple quick to punish them, and I think that could be a disastrous move from them. Is 2 now.
Там не заехать никак в дом, там забор вокруг стоит. Какой дом, блядь? Там по всему периметру стоит забор. И никак не заедешь.
Salam falling is diabolical from Triple Esports to find them down to 3.
Skyrockets and found themselves in engagement after engagement. 12 points found so far this match. And it was great that they were being able to bring 4 down the roadside into this Noble Crates area, but they're all within the same building. Too many people living in this one house, and it was just kind of easy damage to be dealt. Just one nade through the window side that we saw Triple Esports come out of PK.
Чё, блядь, еще напрокало сюда. Сейчас вот тут должны были реально пройти играть.
Open space between these two
Игра.
halves of Noble Crates
Просто
as the
игра.
circle actually shifts up into the buildings this time around. So everyone who was in the crates, they're gonna have to scramble across that huge dividing line.
It's such a difficult thing for, I think, both Yala, for both Rad to do. Both of them, I think, will succumb to this next shift if they cannot find a quick move in. Rad trying to punish out Yala, the only team here, but they lose 2 in the process. Yala were completely ready for it.
What?
They will lose 1, almost lose 2 back in return. Is Del had tried to do some funny business, but Saif gets back indoors and will eliminate Rad live from the other side. Geeke in the middle also need to make that move through too. Is R8, Triple, Skyrocket all continuing to keep their own positions. Happy with this phase 7, where is it gone? But the utility, they are sending in.
Хорошая
My
конечно
only
была.
other concern here, Monica, is that this utility has been being thrown for the last 2-3 minutes. When is it going to run out?
It's gonna run out
enough.
pretty soon. We have Geek running for that last ditch crate, which is great to replenish their items right at this last part of, you know, fresh level 3, fresh level
Вкусно.
medkit and everything.
Понюхал.
But I mean, all eyes are on here. It's kind of a target, a beacon that I am right here.
I
in
can't
R8.
believe he got it.
I know, but I mean, Geek, he's just able to narrowly escape it.
I mean, that was a bravery moment of the entire game, if I could point out a single moment. To go in onto the crate in the middle of the open, you know players are watching it, and still get out with your life as well. Going to be taken out for Yala. Sky finally will be punished. There was no healing through, so taking all of that extra damage will cost him, will lose the loot as well, crucially on that airdrop, so no actual net gain by GK here.
Nothing to capitalize onto that Yala, though. I mean, coming off the back of wiping out Red, but now finding themselves in the clutches of Geekay. And Geekay, even though they're coming in as a 3-man, really, or actually 2-man this time around, really spreading out, having that information. The house is on fire. Somebody left the burner on, and R8 is just calling 911 right now.
Look, they're calling vote a fire grenade.
Найс хая.
They're getting the police in
Я
because
думал,
they're
он ее
looking
сейчас
for
от
raid.
карниза кинет.
GK, Hope.
Ну, в целом,
He's
да,
in
нормально,
there.
должен
The
взорвать.
Palace are trying to find it off the window back on, but they can't get it. Ragnar as well will be spotted by R8, and there goes the final one. GK will fall in 5th position, but a quiet team that has been Skyrocket for now. Keep in mind, still all of those eliminations. Now gets themselves a top 4 position. Might be top 3 here as Yala, the next team to look to try and make it across. May be prove successful, or will they fall like the rest?
Well, as we see kind of our top teams, right?
Бля, у меня кошка орёт, сейчас ей дверь открою.
Early, like EK, Twisted Minds, all those, even Nigma Galaxy, is opening the ways for these kind of bottomer teams like Yala, Triple East, where Skyrocket's the first, welcome to Super Weekend, as they're now going so big, still 3-man up, and I mean, they've got the control on the northwestern side of here. R8, they need to come in at some point, and there's nowhere to go.
Yala, they get across that road. That was the hardest point. They got the 7 eliminations on board, but we need to survive for now. Triple as well. All house sharing here, and R8 will be punished for it. Gets the second one as well. Life, that is a crucial series of turns through, but right on the window.
Так я же сказал, да, это легчайше для пройдов было бы. Им просто надо было отдефать спину, все. Закрыть зону нормально. Обидно.
Dinner moniker, and they say it's dinner time, Rihanna, because it's our chicken dinner today.
Skyrockets, though, they were saying, hey, we want.
Ну вот, и выиграли игру те типы, которые пройдов выпушили. Блять, за что?
So Skyrockets, this is a team that did not qualify for last week's Super Weekend, and they've come in so big with the first chicken dinner of the entire weekend.
A mega game for Skyrocket in this first match. You could not have asked for a better match. On top of that, they're going to get those $1,000, of course, with every chicken dinner win through the Super Weekend. So the confidence has to be so much higher than what they
может быть, покажет на реплее?
coming in onto the Super Weekend.
I mean, last I checked, they were at 12 eliminations.
Ну терпели, кто терпел?
I can't even count how many they got at the very end. So they're putting themselves right within the mid-20, kind of low 30s point range. So they're already almost, almost 50% of the way there to catch up to that 70-point mark with the only one, right?
And the only one. They've got a lot more to go, though. They didn't have that fantastic
Привет,
game.
привет.
As we check out those standings, Skyrocket, of course, on top, 31 points for themselves. 16.
Sky не терпели. Ты чё?
But Yala, Triple as well.
Кого не терпели?
A good result. That's going to help boost them up the standings alongside R8, who needed, again, more points from that first Super Weekend, up there with 14.
I want to point out the top 5 teams, I believe, here are, Skyrocket wasn't in Super Weekend last weekend. Yala, who was in 14th place from last Super Weekend. Triple Esports, that was in 11th. R8, that was in 12th place as well. All these teams kind of right at the bottom. This is such a very balanced region.
А сколько киллы пройдов сделали? Ой, киллы пройдов. Пройды киллов сделали.
1-2 teams that just completely dominates every single match, right? That we see.
3 в начале точно было? На мосту когда?
I don't even know who could win.
Потом что-то они подфармили, интересно.
It's all about, I think, this zone as well. Skyrocket, who were being bombarded for so long, we had the patience.
Всего 3?
Not to
Всё?
really move
То есть только они вначале убили мост и все?
Realized it didn't work, and then they said, well, we're just going to continue to do what we need to do to get that win. As we check out the next page as well and see where of course these regular teams will end up. I think Road to Glory there, yes, in that 9th position, and 4K falling slightly further down as well. Not kind of teams that we expected, I think, coming in from the first 2 days to be that low on the leaderboard, but on the other hand of that moniker, it was an insanely difficult first game for all of these teams to play.
We had Skyrockets who landed into military base for the first time, right? Because Arito Thunder's just not there. Pride, who landed in Noble Crates, where the circle did end. And it was such a kind of 180 from each other, where Skyrockets, they land there for the first time, they came into Noble and won the game. Major Pride, they should have done so much better because they literally didn't have to travel at all. Maybe getting a little too aggressive, maybe in an area that they didn't know too well. And they went out
Чем бы
so
видосик какой-нибудь
early,
глянем
didn't get
пока.
really any points that match.
Yeah, I think for Major Pride, they actually did do okay, I would argue, because they kind of control Nova, they kind of control that bridge, and they did have the ideas to go back towards that bridge, right, where teams were going to be there before. But I think for the rest of, I think, those teams coming in onto Major...
Давайте сейчас посмотрим, может, реплей покажет.
Если
не покажет, пойдем видосик посмотрим.
Our best of moments of the first match and get to see all again the direness of these teams all trying to make it through on into this zone, and Lord, a fantastic play, I think, at least from Nigma, to save this game from Melo.
Remember, at this point, he was by himself. He came up to the beach. Everyone else had been taken out by the likes of, I would say, 4K, by Yala, kind of out in the water. So at least he was able to collect that one elimination point before he was inevitably found by Skyrockets. Here we saw Rad. Remember that fight between Rad and Falcons? And I think Falcons did all right
видимо, уже не покажут.
for, being stuck on that side and still ending up in top 6 or so in that match.
Yeah, I think for such a difficult game, for Skyrocket to be able to take that was well done. For all of these teams as well coming through on the other side, equally, I think, well done, considering that zone, as we said, just split in between the two parts of Novo, really did create a lot of tension in between how these players were going to try to navigate out from one side to the other. Skyrocket, of course, so
Ладно,
was, I think...
Гой видос.
Yes. 落とすなよ。はい、力。
Ебать, Клава. Нормально, Клава? Да отъебитесь от меня с своим клатчем. Смотрите сами. Вы же все его видели миллион раз. Я не хочу смотреть. Роллаки.
Ondan mach so, Auto so machen, ich machen so, aber unwahr.
Tem que ser bem direitinho. Rápido, você tá com pressa, quer ir pra algum lugar, faz assim, ó.
Чел.
For one, the sexiest one of them all, we have the British accent.
Who wants a fucking burger?
Yo, bro, you got a napkin?
Yeah.
وافتح انجز انجز.
Здорово.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you. I was almost late to my League of Legends tournament.
Бля. Мал. Иди так уел.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? I'm sorry, but the police are here. They've asked us to stop the party.
Fuck off.
Hey man, how are you today? Good, alright. It'll be $4.55. So then take your eyes up so you'll have slight life to survive like 5 months, avoid a side and not slide off inside your guts, and even if you think you karma, you're still a bitch.
Hey, y'all want a beer?
I want to paint my nails, but
Yeah, do it.
Не, игру не чекал. Ну, типа к нормальному стриму, не к МПЛу, а если будем играть, то поиграем.
Yeah, I hit him with the twister.
I saved your balls. That's why you're here.
Did she say she shaved your balls or saved your balls?
Saved your balls.
Eat it, Grandma!
Beatles fucking Beatles. Beatles fucking Beatles. Beatles.
Alright, I can drive. It's a stick shift. Check.
Нет, все потому, что это тайга. На тайгу похож был чувак. Ебать, это что, это капибара, что ли? Да, это капибара.
Esto lo prendes
Вкусный план.
y lo cerrás.
Ебать, он быстро летит. Он же летит, типа, между... Его же может просто поток засосать. Как эта хуйня называется? Воздушный поток. Это между фурой. Я просто на мотоциклах катался. И знаю, каково это, когда тебя вот, типа, воздушный поток засасывает. Не то, чтобы я был под фурой, но знаю.
No, no.
Yo, what's good, bro? It's been a while. How's it been, man?
What's up?
О, арабский ПМПЛ. Какого хуя там Волга, или мне показалось? Это не Волга. Конец. Так, о, как раз разлеточка. Ну, для прайдов хорошая зона. Очень хорошая.
It's all about, right, trying to make sure his teams have a challenge. I'm feeling a bit concerned. I don't think I could, like, write this in a script at Los Leones, the bang center of a map for phase number 1. There's still time. I'm still hopeful. I'm going to be, like, the glass half full. And I'm saying that, you know where it needs to go? And we've not had it for ages for me, is Graveyard Finish. I mean, I don't know about you, but Graveyard Finish is such an interesting position. I'm hoping it's going to go there. It's obviously going to be hard to predict, but yeah, I'm hoping so.
В прошлый раз была слишком хорошая.
The Skyrocket just disrobe. Okay, so he had the grizzly bear outfit on before. It's a little bit too hot for him in this desert area, so he's just gonna disrobe. But Major Pride, I think, you know, they only got, what, 3 points in that last match, landing very, very close to Geek.
Okay, I'm not biased, but I feel like Skyrocket, they have to be punished for this now because how dare they remove the grizzly bear
How
outfit?
dare
I know, right? We've just talked about how amazing it is, and Skyrocket, they tell me, look, we've had enough of your mean zones, Jake. We've had enough of your need for the grizzly bear outfit. We're just gonna take the beat bus instead, and it's got like the beautiful little like bear like ears on it. I mean, I've never seen that.
I was gonna say where
like,
the skin was removed here was thrown
I know,
onto
like
the
transformed
Scooby-Doo bus.
it. Like...
Кот ложится на клаву? Не бывало такого. Иногда может типа на стол запрыгнуть, но это похер. Она умная. Она видит, что если я чем-то занят, она не доебывается лишний раз.
So you know the twins, right? Vigors and Dami?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
They said that in game their voices are exactly the same, so they'll be in a fight, rotating or whatever, and one of them will give a call, and the teammates have to be, was that Dami or was that Vigors? Like who gave that call out? I'm trying to get where this information came from.
Yeah, and then you see like teammates. We've got to fix this. If I need one of you in, then only one of you can be alive, and then we know which one's playing now.
I'm gonna self-sabotage grenade one of my teammates.
Just for the clarity,
one thing their organization actually had them do was get different haircuts in real life, so when they took photos, they could tell the difference. So if you look at their photos, they're slightly different.
Гульбай Шушана это бесславные ублюдки. Охуенный фильм.
They are actually the same people, but I mean, it's cool though that being. It's always interesting knowing who is related to who's twins, because it seems to be every single region. I mean, I've known for a while that there's always seemed to be one pair of twins somewhere within the rosters, right? And it's interesting to see like kind of twin telepathy, their synergy, and how they may elevate the game because they grew up together.
Yeah, I feel like that's like honestly the strat, man. You just
Я просто АФК встал.
twins on board, and they just got so much synergy already. I mean, also could work out the other way, right? Maybe they don't get on, so maybe like then they start having different ideas as well. And you're like, hello, like one of you going in, one of you not going in.
Oh. Понятно.
What is not going in is going to be the only one any further in the
Приветствую. За кого я болею еще? За кого я еще могу болеть, ё-моё? Конечно же, за Висту.
Bad manners up here, trapping the only one up on top.
Ну, прошлая игра была плохо, прям очень плохо.
So early game, he really doesn't have anything to defend himself with.
And the only one, I just called out here from a position when it comes to them trying to rotate. Now, you can see the rest of the only one. They're trying to come in and support here, and it's why, of course, Alucia's buying time. They're trying to step back, not trying to engage onto NASA. But NASA, I like they're continuing this push. They're trying to make sure they quickly do this in this fight, trying to punish the only one on their locations currently. Alucia has an A prep, though. It will be tricky to land on.
Вот. Насра не нокнули чела. Тут проблема теперь. Сейчас еще второго туда же. Ему сейчас надо Адмирату взорвать просто.
Yeah, Lush doing so
Боже,
well
какой ужас.
to buy himself some time as he's just begging for his teammates to drive just a little bit faster. Tosses another.
Меня эти челики звали работать к ним. Да-да.
Two-piece Highland Wolf, and he is showing them why.
Астер
Even though
eSports.
I am the only
Вот
one
они,
here,
слева направо.
don't count me out yet.
Oh man, that's where you come in with a pan and you just slap him upside the head and say, "Nice
How dare you?
How dare you come in 2v1?"
How dare you think that I'm just slim pickings as Alush? He's not done yet, and he turns his sights onto yet another member of NASA. But I think he's gonna pass it to one of his teammates this time around as problems. I mean, all he's got is problems here because he gets put down onto his knees as well.
NASA at least gonna return for one now, but it's not long-lived.
Чуть-чуть не хватило времени, чтобы тиммейта засейвить. Ну там тиммейт, конечно, тоже пострелял, как профессионал.
Finding the extra member in NASA, they will spot that they have disappeared for now and will be on their merry way back in towards, I believe, more of his Los Leones side. Now, for the only one, they've got a great position currently because they can look over, I think, this northern side of Los Leones, and you notice a lot of these teams actually are playing on that more outskirt kind of side, not willing to probably go onto Los Leones this game, and I'm hoping it continues to stay this way, because even if we see a Los Leones zone, teams entering on this location always particularly
карту. Что там пройды делают?
Да,
они переместились.
will maybe make that wider rotation in. Is going
Они сейчас будут край зону
I
закрывать.
think that catching yourself locked down in the city by phase 2, phase 3, something that we want to see these squads avoid. But naturally, I'm kind of apprehensive for it because obviously the regional style, as we've seen so far, always tends to bring these teams very middle center quite early on.
You don't want to overcommit, but you don't want to be so uncommitted that you're so far out. So 4K, I mean, they're close enough to Los Leones now. The only one they scrapped up 3 limbs just now onto Nassar, but did lose 1 in the process. Then Road to Glory. I mean, they had such a great weak play moving up into here, but didn't have kind of, you know, a very unmemorable performance in the first match.
В России проходит да, много всяких туриков, да? Такие турики там на 10-20к. Их прям вообще пруд-пруди сейчас. Так, пойди. На черную сместились. Церковь плюс черная. Не понимаю позицию Наоми сейчас. Возможно, он типа в кемпе, который снизу. Он такой типа в расщелине, там 3 общаги стоит. Ну, зона Леонас, да. Я, правда, не понял смысл, зачем они здесь растягивались, если у них здесь все было свободно. Если проще же отыграть вот с этой горы, с плитом вот с этой. Сразу же понятно, что зона Леонас будет.
If you're a team like the Onier one, you're like, yes, keep saying it, you know, right in our backyard. But if you're a team like R8 that is still well up into the blue zone, they're like, please stop it. Like, we want somewhere a little bit closer to us to have a slightly easier, a little more forgiving rotation.
Не могу понять, зачем я стримлю, ну... Хочу и стримлю, в чем смысл? Смысл находит каждый сам для себя. Смотреть или не смотреть. Если не нравится, не смотри. Я никого не заставляю. Мне вообще похуй.
Imagine they're gonna go through his Picado side. I would like to make them see a bit more of a wider rotation. Obviously, there being one squad already of R8 in the San Martin area, Rod now have to kind of rotate down that more south side.
Так, сейчас, ребят, я за пивком сейчас бегаю.
And this is where it does get a lot trickier for these teams with Los Leones now, kind of the major point, and western side also being another major part of that zone, because it is going to be more open. You're naturally coming uphill from outside the city, and a lot of these teams will be positioned later on in these locations, warehouses and whatnot, where they are going to be able to find these extra angles, and especially in the city as well. You cannot forget the entrance on the western side always has those 4 and those 5 stacks, which teams can also take advantage of to again have that height advantage, information, and pin down players below them.
So many different layers involved with Miramar, and these teams really need to identify. Like, for example, right here, you sit there on a layer higher.
Спасибо, бро. Вот такое приятно слышать. А когда челики заходят, пишут всякие гадости. Такое, типа. Зачем? Я же не говорю никому никакие гадости.
Somebody always has a higher elevation than you, unless you're sitting at the very tip of top of the mountain.
Гадости при себе оставляйте свои.
Above you, right? But Power, they've got a little bit of a downhill slope from 4K.
Ваше здоровье, кстати.
Clearly, 4K
Из-за
hasn't
прейдов.
really had that much time to loot yet, as we see a red dot on that M4 trying to take those long distance pop shots. So, I mean, 4K, they were able to make it into kind of the mid-late game in the last match, but they didn't really have that many points to show for it. Power, though, they're just kind of pushing on together. This is very on brand for Power, right? They seem to just constantly on the move the first half of the match. They can't seem to just commit to one spot, but somehow it's proving okay for them because they're getting a lot of information about where teams are.
Сейчас бы карту еще показать. Еще раз. Как раз таки, когда команды начали ротироваться. Вот я не понимаю, вот первые 2 зоны, я считаю, что вообще практически всегда должна карта быть показана, потому что это же интересно. Команда же начинает первые ротации свои проводить. Окей, там первую зону можно еще не показывать, там пару раз ее быстренько показать, а потом нужно вот на второй зоне всегда карту открытой держать. Это же самое интересное. Когда ты смотришь, когда команда первой ротации производит, там что, они закрывают края. Можно легко понять, зато команда играет от края, или команда типа куда-то бурится в центр.
Пройдя от края играют.
На самом деле, мне кажется, что... Так, сейчас будет прок. Леонас, да. Мне кажется, что... Вот, не знаю, на месте пройдов я бы не стал бы в этом регионе играть от края. Потому что арабы супер нечитаемые. Возможно, как-то на средних быстрых таймингах.
Position like Pachinki, they should have kind of the first rotation, first step into the circle, but as we saw last game, they chose to edge it from the center of the map, which doesn't, you know, they seem a little bit, you know, not mutually exclusive. But here we have Pride.
Так, в смысле, бесполезное говно за моей вебкой, это называется реклама. А куда они еще рекламу вставят, если не сюда? You know? Деньги не беру. Беру только натурой и пивом.
Looks like it's going to be a slow fight, but is also going to be 1-for-1
Блять,
almost traded. As Delham
дебил нахуй.
Back behind the hillside, going down to half HP to a long-range nade. Is there Bandar getting caught out, trying to replace the position of their fallen comrade, but it's a 1-for-1
Подавился.
Sorry. Both of them
Пиво горькое
very
просто.
far away from the zone. Keep in mind, this is still about the graveyard side, and the zone has shifted down south, outside of Los Leones, even towards South Hills. So this fight needs to be finished up now. Rod understand this, and this is why you see them rotating away, and they're trying to actually now look into the future to punish RA at a later point by being ahead of him on their own rotation.
Истерика просто небольшая. Нормально.
From R8, I mean, he has that kind of overwatch. He's the one that didn't allow the rest of Rad to kind of crash down into the compounds where his other teammates were at. So I mean, he saved them a little bit there, bought them a little bit more time. But yeah, like you said, both teams, they need to get out of this position and try to focus more onto the circle because it's a lose-lose situation. Hopping over though, Power versus Triple Esports, we saw a little.
Да не, ничего, Лаки. Вон у Даркнесса спроси, что такое. Я думаю, что она тебе расскажет.
Los Leones is going to be where a lot of these teams have already positioned.
Разработочка.
Keep in mind, as we said, that south part of the hill still available to a lot of these teams. Power as well, also rotating in from this eastern side, should have an easier time. And I think
Кто пройдет 2 килла на ван, они стояли, сейчас зону закрывали.
They're not going to have to worry too much about that more issues of Triple being there. They can actually circumvent them by coming down.
Она не только за такие разработки. Я думаю, она тебе много чего интересного расскажет. Сколько киллов будет? Ну, исходя из того, что сейчас на карте происходило, если они слева играли, они отогнались от одних типов. Ну, вон они слева сейчас, единственное, еще под прок. Я думаю, что киллов... Сейчас, если ангар займут вот этот, будет вообще кайф. Это ангар имбовый. До ангара можно нормально фармить. Киллов 15, наверное. Не, много слишком. 12. Хотя сколько? Сейчас уже есть 3, по-моему, да? Не, уже 4. Не, ладно, 15. Ставили на 15. 21? Серьезно? Ничего себе. Это, походу, топом попахивает. Круто. За прошлую отыгрались. Но все равно прошлая пипец какая обидная игра была. Они обязаны были ее закрывать. Ну, забирать, вернее. Они должны были закрывать зону с Титаника, с этого. Там достаточно несложно было это сделать. Но почему-то мне вот в чате подсказали, у них всего там, по-моему, 1 человек закрывал спину, а все остальные сидели, стреляли в центр зоны. Вот такое все. А, топ-7 и 21 килл? Что? Это сильно.
That's where a lot of these teams are trying to position right now for its advantages there of being a compound, of being that protection. The rest of that south side, very much going to be...
Хотя спойлеры из первоисточника. Хотя тут такие спойлеры могут быть. Не спешите радоваться. Или не радоваться. Вот много шутников всяких бывает. Особенно с тегом Pride. Там одни шутники. Помню еще такой шутник. Есть. Pride Никра. Ник.
triple esports that rotated just a little bit in front of them to prevent them from getting in closer to the circle as R8 coming in hot and heavy. They lose one to Geeke. You cannot drive through the midst of a team just like that, as Geeke also losing one to R8. These two teams, just casualties on either side, as both of them still don't have a foothold in the circle.
Both of them being forced to send it in further forward. Of course, the zone closing in behind them right now. Phase 4 is coming into phase 5 already. They know they have to make that move in now. They've both done it aggressively, but Ari Geeke, only one can survive right now. Geeke have the advantage over Ida, and Ida can't even get themselves inside the building. It's going to have to be some fancy footwork. It's going to have to be the support of the rest of these players in. And that's why Ida trying to buy time here, trying to walk away from the nade. But Satan wants to finish off the play early on and will find it in Ida.
Бутерброд на лер-8. Нормально.
Okay, finishing out that fight with the help of Major Pride in the distance with a little bit of a third party on R8. So thank you very much, they said, as a get.
Блин, а почему они в нижний ангар не поехали? Там же удобнее играть гораздо будет. Там же свободно было все. Они же могли собрать инфу. Почему? Привет, Комар. Он по-прежнему свободен, там он фрик просто на дороге обосранный бегает в ЛГшке, боится выйти. Ну да. Надо, смотрите, они все еще могут переехать в этот ангар, выпушить NGX-ов и потом играть вот здесь. Здесь вообще нормально играется. Кстати, помните, да, эти зоны? Мы часто их видели, они все в бочке туда уходят. Тут, в принципе, все просто. Сейчас карту еще раз. Чек. Тут просто заехать сейчас под ангар, выпушить NGX-ов. Эти будут, наверное, сидеть в кемпе. Здесь можно еще пожить, подождать следующий прок и там потом посмотреть. Если есть тачки, а тачки есть. Либо крашнуть сюда, либо вот здесь на дороге можно тоже в ЛГ играть. Но при этом надо закрыть, опять же, вот эту всю... подождать, вернее, пока уйдет вот эта сторона. Чтобы потом по всей ЛГшке растянуться.
We have Yala stopping them from rotating any closer. And I mean, this is going to be, you got some rocks, you got some buildings and water tanks to call home, but there's a lot of layers and a lot of...
В принципе, просто главное сейчас лишнего не сделать ничего. А, вон они уже переехали. Найс. Красавчики.
Starting to mobilize and coming into, I guess, past the apartments here, but they have no information, by the way, Highland Wolf. They're rotating...
Ну и все в эти бочки залетают.
Blindly.
4K, they knock themselves there with the help of Yala. Gets one down.
А что? У вас же в спине, алло, как вы... Не понял. Кстати, они четко сделали. Там, короче, прям вот на самой дороге есть яма. Прям вот на самой дороге. Там можно сесть, и тебя вообще никто не увидит. Это такая неожиданная позиция. Они, походу, туда и заехали. Там просто как колдоебина в дороге лежит. У меня жиж заканчивается. Надо залить полный бак. Кому полный бак залить?
Herd 12, there's one of those teams that are finally here for the super weekend, and they weren't able to get that many points in the last one, so this is their chance now to climb on up. On the outskirts we have, though, look at how much control Power has over this hillside where Road to Glory, I mean, their Road to Glory has had a tree fallen right into the mist because they can't come any closer. Nabu.
Вот Невекс. Я его нашел. И Жижа говорит Делюкс. Не знаю, второй с табачки купил. Она была вкусная. Мне понравилось, как она пахнет. Манго клубника. Вот смотрите, они не закрыли спину дальше, до конца. Сейчас опять, возможно, проблема прошлой катки будет. Вообще они... А, еще и прокнуло. Найс, найс. Вот эти челы очень мешают. Тут просто вопрос, есть инфа про этих челов или нет инфы? Я видел, там был какой-то нок. И, возможно, это пройди даже нок, или я чуть не обратил внимания. Привет, Сереж. Привет.
But now they know that there's not going to be any more coming through from unknown, as they will use this to punish. While the Power Kids,
спасибо, спасибо.
Should I say,
Да, там кто-то сдох, походу Милкич. Бля, что, я не могу жижу? Пиздец, я жижу не могу открыть. Защита для детей. Или от детей, скорее всего от детей, да, защита от детей. Я, получается, ребенок, бля, жижу не могу открыть.
I think Road to Glory is just unknown, couldn't
А
hold
как?
that kind of
Ну не
overwhelming
открывается.
position and
А,
sent
все,
his
открыл.
teammates down
Я,
to
походу, все
their
сломал.
deaths, actually, deaths and deaths, running into the open. Yala, no, they see Falcons crashing onto the sides
Ладно,
of the
неважно.
water tank areas. Falcons, I mean, they have half of them needing to go for a revive, needing to get into the circle, and the other half focusing on this pesky team who's crashed up right behind them. Falcons never alone, just misses out on a knock. As now they're kind of hopping a skip, trying to get a little bit closer, but it is just so hard for them. The last member of Road to Glory does fall.
Major Pride, an interesting position in the center of this zone, have gone straight down for it, but the roads, you can see that there's still 3 roads in play, Monica, and this is the tricky part about it, is again, we've got a similar zone where trying to navigate from one point to the next is so difficult. Now all of these teams who played on the edge need to move continuously further down here.
Топ-7, если сказали, то получается сейчас должны выпушить их. Там я вижу только как 12-е. Ну да, вот. Ешки полетели. Вот, я про эту яму говорил. В дороге. Ну, я не знаю, типа, слишком рано они ее заняли. И всем мне не стоило туда садиться. Позиция нежданчик, но, блядь. Я уверен, что 90% людей вообще до сих пор даже не знают про эту яму. И в том числе и про игроков. Так, нет, это не топ-7. Но, тем не менее, игрока они одного еще потеряли.
Nassar stepping through. Falcons will find the next one. User barely keeping ahead of the game, but it's K12 there.
Блять, Лаки, будешь баловаться так, я у тебя модерку заберу, серьезно. Я тебя предупреждаю. Топ-4. Топ-4, 10 киллов.
K12 score out 2.
Major Pride just kind of putting all their eggs in one basket, and by basket I mean that little crater at the end of the road, and one lobby nade does put them into the.
Я знаю, что это песня, блять, из нулевых.
So well in this match, and now you see them getting confident. They're fanning out. They're the only.
Знаешь, Хованский тоже песню пел. Всего лишь песню.
Still surviving to the end here as a solo. He's just waiting here, right? He wants a fight to happen between Power and.
Короче, я походу сейчас буду нового модератора выбирать. Поэтому, чат, предлагайте свою кандидатуру. Буду резюме ваше сейчас рассматривать.
Curd 12, they've got everything in their hands to win this game. All 4 players, they will split 2-2 for now. Lord being caught out, we'll find out how he surprised there. I don't think Power believed there could be an extra player, but best believe it's true.
17 лет пошло, люблю пиво. Боже, я тебе сейчас админку даже, а не модерку дам на канале. Как живут? Да нормально живу. В целом все ок. Живу, дышу, и на том спасибо.
Like Kurt 12 could have lost, but finally setting it all in together.
Ля какие.
It does work. Lord, second place. Kurd, get the $1,000.
Блин, этот чел, у него такие глаза, как, помните, актер этот сериал «Мистер Робот»? У него глаза прям очень похожи, и брови. А этот чел вообще на Эвостейшена похож. Думаешь, МП пройдут на PMGC? Ну, слушай, пока сложно. Пока сложно. Возможно, они к финалу поменяют плейстайл. Но пока не вижу. Пока не вижу. Но за счет киллов, в целом, топ-2.
Nigma taking up third, but Major Pride quietly but effectively 10 elimination points alongside Kurd there with 9 at the top.
I like how you said quietly because I was looking at the 12 eliminations and was thinking, when did that happen? I mean, they had some fights against Nigma Galaxy at the beginning. They took out, I want to say it was Rad along the way, and then a lot of those eliminations came at the very end. But I mean, Kurd 12, 24 points in the second match, and that 1K cash prize for the Chicken Dinner in the Super Weekend. Such a great performance from them.
And Yellow as well, even though they only get those 2 placement points, again, big scores when it comes to elimination, 7 for them in total. They get themselves up to that first page with the 9.
Пока тут сейчас перерывчик, Гоя видосик. Я хотел сходить перекурить пару минут, и Гой потом видосик чекнем какой-нибудь. Поэтому пока посидите. Да.
Another one of those teams, surprisingly, that we could put under that category, getting, as we said, that third position. But as I think, check towards the second page here, I suspect, again, Monica, we are going to see potentially some of the upsets here on the other end. Skyrocket from a fantastic 31-pointer into nil point, and then also Rad and R8 again struggling here when it comes to finding those crucial points.
Skyrocket from coming off, like you said, a 31-point win in the previous match to a big fat goose egg here. It just kind of negates the massive, I mean, not completely negates it, but at least cuts it in half, right? So basically they got a 15 and a 16-point game across these 2 matches. So, I mean, they need to play a little bit more consistently here. The Skyrocket, I think they engaged a little bit too early at the beginning. And maybe, I mean, this is kind of a theme, right? The team that does really well, I think this is kind of the kind of curse, right? The team that wins a previous match tends to, I don't know, just fall completely flat in the next one.
Look, I mean, it may be the curse of it. I've seen it in tournaments before. Hoping the Skyrocket can redeem themselves. That as much as they may be above that average, Monica, they still need to worry. If they lose another game out like that, they're going to start to fall behind that about average. As we said, about 8 points to keep on board. But as we check out our best oppo moments of the second game, we'll be back with you after a short break for a wrangle once more.
Видосики. Ебать.
Oh, look at them bonding.
Excuse me?
Здорово, здорово. Это что, это крыса? Или что это?
Oh my good God.
Уже не важно.
My water disappeared.
Do you want to see me dunk?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay.
Данк. Типа он сейчас баскет. Оу, я прокатался на такой штуке. Ау.
It's been 2 years, Daddy. I still really miss you.
Привет. Хоть макаки бешеные.
This Easter egg just involves this part of the set. So here, let me just...
Оу. Да. Ебать.
This is the most important picture that's ever been taken. Right here.
Ну и кто сказал, что коты это не вода? Это что, яйцо?
Olha que merda que ficou. Nossa, ó, João. Que desgraça que é isso?
The heat coming off of that wrap.
Jesus Christ, what the hell?
Преисполнился. Ебать, это что? Это броненосец, по-моему, нет? Да. Жиза, пиздец. Какая жиза?
Mano aqui de palhoça, ó. Talento do cara.
Так, ладно. Летим. Летим.
The same strategy and triple, making that big move.
Ну, зона опять хорошая для прайдов.
Kind of worried for them because you can see there are a lot more teams here than before.
Another one with a massive split is going to be Nigma Galaxy. You see 3 of them landing into the Pachinki areas, and Hamildy, I don't know, maybe he
He's on his own.
parachute malfunctioned or something, but he's across the entire way over into the farm area as Twisted Minds, another team that we know has performed well in previous Super Weekends and is just, I don't know, just falling real short right now, and I just can't remember anything they've done in the previous matches.
Still, Rad's continuing here to potentially get themselves caught out on a 1 and 4K. Anaconda also going to be another one of those players split out and will be punished for it. Rad going to strike the first elimination away of the third match and going to continue to move in their own direction here up towards this more eastern side of the kind of hills there, coming in towards prison, in towards that shelter side, as Rad naturally do end up doing, and towards the end of the first phase. I think for these teams coming in again from the east, going to be interesting, as we always say about those rotations, because naturally you do want to try look at possibly the wider rotations of the north, the south side as well. And I think
не играют, они Европу будут играть.
Island finding their own of their own.
Начал, наверное,
is
испугался.
also another option for these squads, because
Кример тупо
they
вылетел.
have the zone there in first phase. Now we could actually use that as a leverage point to slowly navigate their way properly through that South Island and avoid the main central belt.
Oh man, that was definitely a clip that belonged in that kind of meme highlight clip commercial that we saw before. It was just road to glory, just J9 completely caught unawares, coming up to the second floor, and then Triple Esports, I think, just peek it out, goes for immediate knock and flush. I think it's just kind of a what just happened? Like, where did you come from? Rage quit kind of situation, because anybody would be mad if that happened to them.
You come in, you're thinking, look, I've got another 20 minutes to play potentially a PUBG. I'm ready for myself. I'm warmed up. I've got the thumb gloves on. You know, is that what they do these days? Maybe I'm a bit of a boomer. I'd like to think I'm the zoomer here. Of I think at least me and Imperium. I won't
Imperium's
say
the self-proclaimed boomer, so you can he's already wearing that hat. So
I know, right? He wears it with pride, right? I mean, there's a
Такое
boys
нет.
who don't really know what a boomer or a zoomer is, but in Imperium, he's got the dad glasses on, you know. He's got the shades.
He's at least once a day. It's the dad joke that comes out. It's the if you open the Wikipedia dictionary for boomer, it's Imperium's smiling face right there. So all in good fun, and I'm sure.
Эти команды не прошли, кроме Виста, но из наших только Виста не прошла.
No,
наших всего две команды здесь играют. Остальные я вообще в душе не ебу, что там за команды.
So we get to side really a bit of Imperium this time.
Safe for now.
Yeah,
Safe
for now.
For now.
until he rewatches the VOD, and then we're in trouble.
Like, oh crap! Just tell him, don't listen to the first part of match number 3. Yes, just don't listen. Just don't tune it out.
And it's totally boring. There's nothing to listen to. Is also the only one, as we get back on track here, are making their own rotation through that central belt. But I was worried about Monica, because a lot of these teams tend to do this big, bold rotation coming through the center early on. Not often I see it work as I think well as those wider rotations, because you see them then get caught about 2-3 minutes later in a fight, in a skirmish. It slows them down. Then they can't continue trying to get that information further in onto the zone. And then those wider teams later on, they just come in and completely steal those positions away.
Well, it's about the timings, right? So what a rotation that may work for them, let's say 2
Мне
minutes
кажется ли
later,
это Анос
now,
играл
you
в
just need to
Яле,
be
вроде
setting
как.
yourselves up where you're not blindly rotating
Это
into a
знакомый ник.
space, where you're setting yourselves up, get on top of a high vantage point, collect that information, even if it's for 10-15 seconds, just a quick scan around the horizon to see if there's any teams, and then kind of bunny hopping your way instead of just, hey, from A to B all at full speed, go for the middle of the circle type of deal. So Twisted Mind coming in from the farmish area past the potato hills and just coming in on kind of that southeastern Pachinki hillside.
Топ-6 это слабо все равно.
I think game so far, I mean, Nigma really could have, I think,
Если бы они не отдавали
практически
практически стопроцентные игры, они бы были наверняка первые. Первые тройки точно были бы.
Also making that rotation through further as Kurtwell beside them, going to make that slower rotation behind mainly the majority of Twisted Minds. There was just that one off member who will catch out the information. So the rest of
Не, я правда давно уже не тренирую.
going to have to make a
Уже
kind
давно.
of foothold, trying to hold out on Cur 12's position if they do decide to go further in. Ragnarok could come in behind and pincer, so that's, I think, smart by their also Cur 12, maybe having spotted that extra member of Ragnarok to not continue that big push further.
Falcons, one of the teams that I guess they're going one by one, right? Skyrocket, Falcon, Cur 12. These are three teams that did not make the last Super Weekend, and currently two of them, that's going to be Skyrocket and Cur 12, have won a chicken dinner. So I mean, I think it's Falcon's turn next, wouldn't you say? That they can kind of follow that pattern, and maybe they can get a chicken dinner and get a little bit closer to. I mean, the only one currently in that kind of danger zone, as they're the bottom of the rankings from last Super Weekend.
But do like team victories
Просто они в прошлом супервике тоже
Is it just like your magic word? Is it like,
достаточно
how
легкие игры
Glitter,
отдавали.
always says a team, and then that team wins. Are you like Glitter Explosion for this broadcast for us?
Yeah, I do like that. Well, okay, so we did see 4K. One of them fell out of their cars, right? We saw that just happen. Road to Glory up on the... Okay, so this is you called it central kind of Gatka hillside, right? Very hopeful situation happening there. Only... Okay, once again, we keep saying the only
Такие же
one
зоны
keeps losing
одинаковые.
a player way too early. We do have that circle. Okay, it did shift that. I mean, it is on that main island, but we saw that little sliver of the military island.
You're like, you're worse than me, Monica. Like, I thought I was
I'm
evil,
like-
and then you're like, it's gonna go there.
Стрим
It's
лагает,
gonna
не знаю, у тебя
go
одного
there.
лагает, наверное.
That little sliver.
I think the casters always like balance themselves out. It's like the more evil and like violence choosing I am, the more like positive you need to be to, or you just subconsciously become to kind of like even it out just a little bit. I'm just hoping for the worst, and you're like in return is hoping for a little bit easier of a circle for these teams.
Like, guys, like Monica, we've had one zone already. They went like 50-60% water, right? Like, I mean, I like to me as of Novka Island. I also think that Gatka, though, equally difficult in its own right, to be fair, is it's very open. It's very difficult to continue those navigations around. Now, you're really looking towards those positions like RTG, who have those hills on the edge of Quarry, gonna be able to look over a lot of those Gatka hills. Also, I think if they had made a little bit of a wider split, they could have also taken advantage of that northern side too, where they can actually take an eye on teams like Major Pride, but they still maybe have a slight advantage in that idea of that northern end, but it's not going to be as much had they made that split. And I think on the other hand, it could also be very smart because R8 also in the area may also try to punish RTG if they decide to make that big kind of split in between their players. So RTG going to play it safe for now.
Road to Glory, though, yeah, playing just a little bit safe. I think just hugging kind of their edge of the circle. Major Pride,
Киберспорт в Warzone.
go back to the stomping
Смешно.
grounds of
Какой там
South
киберспорт?
Florida Full Crate. So they're going to be coming
Турниры
up on
для
the northern
контент-мейкеров и
side, which
стримеров?
should be a
Класс.
little bit of the
Охуенно.
lesser congested area, just
То есть
because
это
the
еще
southern
обновление,
playground,
когда было
they went
слияние
all the way up north.
с Вангардом, это
They
вообще
should be
пиздец.
okay, but Yala is another team that
В
kind of
Warzone никто не
ran
играет,
their
одни консольщики
general side of the
остались.
world up in Severny, so we might see a little
Warzone 2
scrimmage
жду.
between these two teams
Как
rotating
выйдет,
a
я,
little bit closer
наверное,
together,
плотненько сяду.
obviously because they started in a very similar situation at the beginning
В
of the
следующем
game.
году уже должен
Maybe
выйти.
that is also geeky there, up towards that more observatory point as well inside of Gatka Field. So they'll also have again another high ground advantage of a position. They'll also have that information, those teams rotating further on. Teams so further out behind, like Rad, of course, who have made those slow rotations. Major Pride, as much as they've got Nomi inside the center, all of the other three of those players are going to be very far behind. Unfortunately, Lush, or the rest of the only one as well, going to lose their life. The Skyrocket find one, and it might be the worst here. Triple, almost clever, finds that extra knockdown, and that would have been disastrous for the only one if they had lost another.
Man, they're just. I think everyone in this lobby is just taking their turns picking on the weak link in this match. Is going to be the only one has problems running for his life, trying to, he just disregarded his vehicle, gets in with his teammate, and they're gonna go sending it across the field. And like you said, all open areas here. Maybe a
А что, у
little
кого-то
hill,
еще лагает
maybe a little
стрим?
dip, or one little broken down shack to
Или там
call
какой-то чел
home.
просто приплыл, поныл и уплыл?
This is the third game going that they've just lost members at the beginning and just couldn't come back from it.
Enigma, who have moved.
Я могу битрейт поменьше поставить.
You can see in the middle now.
Просто я не виноват, что у некоторых интернет говна. Элементарно стрим не вытягивает. Ой, какая зона хорошая.
Instead it goes down in towards Quarry, in towards Ferry Pier. Now, alright, they've actually taken control of this hill. They've gone for this split, so a major win of a position. I also think that Triple could also take a really good position here. They need to move, I think, further back towards the tree line, just above the ferry pier, where those are caused extra bunkers, those extra little bits of support were added in Erangel 2.0. If they don't do that, I think they're missing out on an early rotation. Power, on the other hand, to need to kind of get in away from this center point, fighting now.
Ну, видите, еще один шанс будет на третий супервик пройти. Ну, что-то хз. Такой игрой.
They land in Gaka. This is their backyard, so they want to come and defend it. Geeky coming in.
Так, Номи там нокнул кого-то из Ялы.
Area losing two. Actually, not losing quite yet, but down onto their knees. The other two hope. He's going to need to come out big, throw the smokes down, get some time from his team. Hope there's not a third-party situation coming out from Yala, but you see a Molotov come out from Kante, put right into the middle, no mercy at all for Geeky. I think it's just licking them as Satan might be not long for this world, and he is bleeding on out.
Barely keeps themselves away from the molly. That was crucial. Slightly further back in power.
Любая тир-2 Тима сможет, но не любая, но в целом...
Will, I think, try to hold back from this fight. Both of them know that they can't really take it. So for now, Power, they have the pressure, but they also need to worry about teams coming in behind them. Yala is also behind this fight as that potential third party. RTG is on the front of them. So as much as they may also want to escape, where do they escape to? So potentially both of these teams having locked themselves into a big corner.
Big corner that Power is in as Road to Glory, now cornering them into the opposite side of this hillside. I think Power, they got that information. They knew it was Geeky they were fighting in, and then they immediately start going on the defensive, running away. So I think finally getting that information of, hey, we're fighting the #1 team in this lobby. I'm a little bit scared now, but ran right into the likes of Road to Glory on the other side. So just not a great situation here. And I think Geeky, they've identified this, and Power trying to escape as well. Just get out of this area because it's a lose-lose situation in total.
Привет, привет.
And Power gonna lose their lives as finally Geeky have found a position through, but they also lost Ragnar. They've also lost a second, so big losses as they lose out Ragnar, particularly the core fragger of the team. So more defensive approach may be utilized now by Geeky to survive for the rest of this match. Nassar also going to fall, lose one in the elimination feed. El Hahe there also to RTG, but it's a major fight potentially breaking out as Rad going to lose one already to Triple, and he's not even closed in Clever yet.
This is where Rad went and took one player away from, I'm forgetting what team it was, but they're camping up on top of the stairs.
Еще одна зона хорошая, найс. И там вся горка свободная. Отлично.
Trying to find a different way to engage onto this fight. But I mean, they're fighting for the very, very edge of the circle. I mean, it's
надо растянуться вот до сюда примерно. Сейчас, сек. Они в целом нормально встали. Я покажу. Типа вот буквально вот до сюда встать пошире, закрывать лево-право. Просто, ну, справа не поедет уже никто, возможно, сейчас. Ну, Яла в кем, скорее всего, крашнут. Просто левых челов не пускать, вот этих настров. Каскадка должна быть хорошая, плотненькая такая.
And stays away, crucially as well, from the center of that zone where a lot of these teams may be positioned. Now, Rad, Triple, having lost this position as well.
На ПМПЛ как-то не шипаю. Ну, есть деньги, попадают. Нет денег, не попадают.
Didn't they just go for that position anyways? Because Triple are behind him. Triple, the moment they see that Rad move away,
попадают те, у кого есть деньги.
Triple Esports, they're fanned out, spread out. Yellow though is switched over here. The last player, I want to say, of Power holding on.
Могут ли пройти в топ-3 зайти? Да в топ-3, я думаю, зайдут.
And takes the Kings of Gaka out of Gaka, indeed, a fanning
принципе,
back.
да.
Rad that's still about to erupt into this fight. The utilities come out as Rad is trying to get a hopeful opening knock onto Triple Esports. He's got the nade, he's got a second one. They're committing a lot of resources to this fight. So they really want to win on this because they put all their cards on the table, right? They want to win this fight so they can collect the resources that are in the crates of Triple Esports.
I believe I saw 4K as well rotating behind him, so Rod staying on the outside of these buildings on the sides could prove fatal if, as we say, one of those third-party teams come and they spy out a Rod member. There is going to be lost to the elimination of
Нави
the
Европу
play
будут
zone
катать.
for now. Is Triple still stalemated on this fight, going to maybe need these third teams, there's 4 teams to try break it open.
Triple Esports. Stuck between a Rocket
Ну, я и
and
говорю по
a
турниру, потому что по турниру они в топ-3, я думаю, зайдут.
Rockets, I mean, they are close in the miniature map, but there's still that little hill between them that they don't have visualization on here. If they can, you can see them in the card, maybe coming
Будет же финал еще.
a little bit closer, just at least to get the information.
Сейчас отсеиваются
But
4
maybe a little
команды.
bit of a third party rip. Looking to say rest in peace to some of these teams down the hill. I think he knows it's a full-on drawn fight. They know the circle's going to shift in a little bit, so he focuses back on his team as we shift Nassar stuck in the valley between multiple teams.
In R8, they've got complete control.
Европа я не
of this
помню
early
когда.
exit in
Если кто-то знает, подскажите.
Nassar, they know it. There's nothing that really can be done. The nades going in will find Miracle. Ali, very, very low indeed. One more would do it. They go wide each left and right. Is now triple back.
Я ботов отключил.
Come in further forward. Find the aggressive plays. They take down.
Команды чата недоступны, если что.
Losing their health bars. Rex will be the last to fall, and Clever will loot up the cash.
Man, Triple Esports, they really stamped and graffitied their names onto the walls of this comp up
30
because they're
августа,
not
помню.
letting this one go without a fight. And this is going to be the second time they've taken members of another team out in the same building. Triple Esports racking up 6 eliminations.
Кто-то пишет, что 30 августа, а кто-то пишет, что через час. Чё?
Trying to rotate right in front of them, but they cannot forget about all the teams lingering behind them. That's going to be.
Но зона все еще хорошая.
All the ones looking to take them out.
Я почему-то вижу 3 игроков, а где еще один? Что, потеряли уже кого-то на ровном месте опять?
It's 4K in the center of it all. Can they keep it inside their control? Though it is a crucial
Не, 4 игрока,
question.
все нормально.
All of these teams
А где
still
4-й?
outside, still below them. So for now, 4K going to be at ease, but they've already lost 2 players, and that's going to make it very difficult indeed to hold.
I mean, they have the central position right, but only 2 players.
Чел
So
с
it's
ДП
gonna
играет
get
до сих
ever
пор.
more hard. It's hard for a
В 2020-м застрял.
because everyone is coming in close and personal. Twisted Minds just cannot get over their hump of the day, and still, yet again, another poor performing game. Not a lot of points that they had as Skyrocket still keeping their corner of their eyes onto Triple Esports down below. 2 left alive from this team.
Zone at a standstill for now is Skyrocket. They punished an extra of Triple. 4K gonna lose another as RTG there in the elimination feed will punish at least 1 for now, and big split of course through from 4K, so they're gonna have to lose out on the information over Falcons on that more western flank to make the revive happen. Yala might also fall here through RTG. Bumper has the angle as well.
The insane angle from up top, Yala Saif.
Я просто тебя давно не видел, чтобы с ДП кто-то бегал.
The corner of the window onto 1 volt down below as Safe taking that car resource away from them so they can't have a quick rotate in the circle, because if you're looking at the miniature map, Road to Glory, they're still not quite within, and they have Yala looking down at them. They've got all of these teams in the general area as Enigma Galaxy uses this opportunity while Road to Glory is distracted to quick rotate in. This is such great timing coming out from Enigma Galaxy.
And it's crucial because RTG, they're not inside of that zone, so they lose out on that opportunity with the revive, as you say. Now, Enigma,
Без понятия, когда
on
ФМСО
top
следующий.
of Yala can continue to punish, and the
Чел.
deadline goes down
И такой
in
чел
vain.
просто.
It is a disaster for RTG. Is that zone? It's just about to hit them, but Enigma know they need to move.
Пространственное мышление уровня амеба.
The other players further in onto the zone, and the work has been done, and they should continue to boil and soil out. The rest of RTG is they just cannot catch a break.
Да, сейчас модно играть с Сайгой.
Road to Glory, like you said, no mercy for them whatsoever. They focus on Yala and they get shot in the back by Enigma Galaxy. They focus on Enigma Galaxy. It's the other way around. Road to Glory, they've got 1 player left alive, but the distraction is taken on by Geek in the background, getting some shots.
И зона вообще вниз, прям в опен, блять.
Their road ends here, out in 10th position.
Bad position.
Там типа вот такая вот как бы это назвать, типа небольшой такой кратер. И там вообще open везде. Там сейчас надо... Зачем сейчас надо это вообще делать? Ну также, да, крайсер просто отдефать. У них просто сзади еще челики. Даже, блядь, ну как так? Ну нокни, хорош. Хаешку, хаешку. Ну смог хаешку, что-нибудь, ну кинь, ну Ваня, ёбаный бобаный, ну как так? 3 нока, блядь, на ровном месте. Ну чё такое? Ну как можно такие... Я вот не первый раз замечаю, что они занимают такие позиции, что... Ты играешь на агрессии, да, ты все круто, ты все видишь, контролишь, но ты отойти обратно не можешь. Если ты не даешь ног, если ты не даешь какой-то килл, типа, то тебя могут просто закрутить, а на обратно ты уже отойти не можешь. Я не первый раз за предами такое замечаю. Что слишком агрессивные позиции. Вообще забывают.
ID7 trying to find him out, does get the last couple of shots as he quickly hits a deck and tries to heal on up.
Very big work done though from Falcons to take down almost Cider as well. The help of the third party completely mitigates any forward progress from Ari in this game. Down to only one player is now Nigma. They did lose 2 knocks as well themselves earlier on, but they get themselves back into fighting form. But Yala are still there in the high hills to control them.
And who's lingering in the distance? It's going to be Skyrockets looking to ascend even higher into the stratosphere. 4-man still on up as they...
Да при чем тут пинг? Там у всех одинаковый пинг. Какой пинг? Они же... Они в Дубае.
Actually getting traded from this player from Skyrocket, throwing some smokes in the distance, trying to... I mean, they need to save their teammates because they're only 2-man standing as R8 is also trying to get even closer.
В равных условиях.
Easy and Salam, they're much more focused here on R8, who also have that secondary angle on them. So losing the 2 in the front line to Yala.
А чё мне к ним залетать? У них есть тренер, у них есть аналитик. Пусть они прорабатывают эти моменты.
They lose one kid completely out now as the extra bullets will fly through from Bumper and they're down, confirmed to the duo.
Flew too high, ran out of fuel, and now crashing back down into earth in a ball of fire back in his Lamborghini.
Они просто на карте
Trying to get
рисуют.
away from the onslaught of Yala as they find Rip. It's going to be 1 left alive, and it spoke a little too soon as they're also with the vehicle explosion taken out this time in 6th position.
Brilliant work through from Yala. They're even going to catch on and knock down, and they know it's a solo. They're going to go hard inside. Will find a punish, won't be caught back away, and will find the elimination. 9 now for Yala, and it's Yala looking like they want to steal control of this game. Darwe, the solo for 4K in the midst of it all, trying to survive.
That was such a critical push from Yala, now taking the best position in the map away from
У них
Skyrockets.
господи,
They want a piece of this one too, and they're late
Set.
their shots. They do find the knock on to Safe, who was doing so much pain onto all the other
Set
teams around them.
I7.
So R8, they're using this time to try to come on in.
Толян.
This is going to be what Nigma Galaxy does best, finding the timing to creep on and use this distraction to their advantage.
In R8, they almost fell down to Falcons. Now it looks like for the side of R8, they could maybe steal this game away. They've got a 3 players.
Ну, аналитик, да. Я это имел в виду.
Might just pull out a Falcons-esque move. They do. They find life as well. And that is dire for Yala Esports. Boompa even going to be confirmed by Lord. In 7th, Enigma now as it get themselves inside a top 4. It's a mega point game.
Нет, тренер не равно аналитик. Ну, раньше было равно, сейчас уже нет. Это разные вещи. Года 3 назад, 2, это да. Куда столько бабок, они с самого начала ничего толком не выиграли. Ну вот, спонсоры. Хорошие.
Solo down to GK to 4K. It's all up towards R8, who have and should have the control of this game down under their belts. But Nigma, they're the rogue players here. They're also with the solos, the ones that could upset R8 in this third match.
Чела вообще М24. А, это ДП, господи. Чё? Я просто помню скин серебряный М24, у меня была еще такая. Ну, еще в ПК PUBG.
Lord as well, keeping an eye on Lord. And sorry, should I say the rest of R8 here?
Очень было похоже. Я просто не обратил внимания на сошки.
You hear the shots coming out from the side. Looks like Raul may be able to identify where the one lone player of GK is at gate. We've seen GK. They've been down to one as a soul. He's like the equivalent of Lord on Enigma Galaxy, where he has the highest survivability, that real clutch factor for his team. But R8, they're still sitting real strong at the top of the hill with 3 players still up.
And R8. Big nade sent through.
Эмбо.
Only will tickle Lords. And SK10 crawls their way further.
Популярные спонсоры поддержки типа Xiaomi? Не, ну прям таких каких-то супер... Нет, я не помню. Ну, по крайней мере, на тот момент, когда я был, точно нет.
Nigma. Now also, another nade from the other angle gets sent in from Guy for Nigma. They're moving about a lot here, making a lot of noise. And that's going to help Guy even more. They find the angle. They tried to find Ralph. They will. They had eyes on them the entire time. And Lord is stuck in a 1v1 versus SK10. SK10 knows where Lord is.
Много микроспонсоров. Держи в курсе. С ДНС работали? Я не помню. Я помню, что и Ник работали с ДНС. Насчет трейдов не припоминаю.
It's the only one remaining who can close out this game. Bandar is not. But nothing else could be done upon the rest. We'll get the elimination point, but I think that's all said and done for this game. R8, they find one. They won't be able to get the next though. R8 still clutch it through with the chicken dinner.
I thought we were going to see a repeat of the 1 versus 3 to win the match from GK Gate, but looks like R8 putting a stop to that one in RA. I mean, that was such a great win from them, and I really want to highlight their most pivotal play in that match was taking on the full team of Skyrocket, taking on the best spot, and being at the apex of that mountain, looking down at everyone below.
Look, for the side of R8, they needed that game. They were falling down on the standings. They had a poor game there on Miramar, so their confidence rejuvenated through from the R8 squad to get themselves those $1,000 as well. And Monica, it's now the standings really shaking up, though. We've seen a lot of flip-flops.
Ты просто бракованное говно какое-то купил, и просто смог поменять и все.
Where teams do well in one game, they're not doing well in the next, then the next one they're doing right again. And that's not really, though,
Игру медов? Каких медбулсов?
from, I think, some of these teams who I want to highlight still who had a performance in that game as we check out those overall standings.
Yeah, we need to light some incest, call an exorcist, because everyone seems to be cursed today. But Geekay, I would say they're the most consistent team throughout today. Geekay just, I mean, they're the #1 team on the overall standings, but they're showing us why. Even though they haven't gotten a chicken dinner in the last couple of days, they're every single time almost, they're always in that top half, and they always are able to collect the eliminations when they can.
And I think as we highlighted some of those teams who need those points, Skyrocket do get those 9 points on board for themselves. As we said, R8 getting that big boost to their overall scoreline. And is, I think, the only other team here that I really think I am impressed, particularly more so than the rest by, is probably 4K and Yala, who 4K...
Ну, чё-то хз, на каком-то турике арабском они раскидали всех. В последнее время, наоборот, такие булсы просели.
On the opposite end were all about that aggression and scoring that 9 elimination points for them.
Wow,
Ну, во вторую часть таблицы вы покажете?
And get those high elimination points, but let's take a look at the second half where the teams, you know, on the flip side, these teams doing well. Let's look at the ones who didn't do too well. Pride once again. I mean, Erangel just doesn't seem to be their map, which is
мало все равно с такой
so much
позиции.
Erangel today and for the rest of the weekend.
Мы
This is
просели,
their
да?
second Erangel match. I believe they finished 9th place.
And unfortunately, a lot of also...
Так, ладно, го видосики досмотрим.
Doutor Gabriel é o nome da fera. Sabe tudo de quiropraxia. Hey, bro, what are you doing? What the fuck?
Let me see your war face. You got a war face? Ah! That's a war face. Now let me see your war face. Bullshit.
Очень злой. Бля, охуенный видос. Надо вырезать, поставить какую-нибудь озвучку. На донат надо было. Ебать банан. А что ты заебался до меня со своей игрой? Ну пойдем чекнем, хорошо. Сейчас чел упадет. Чекнем. Ай, как она там называлась, господи? Быстрее. Ясно. Мэдисон. Илья Мэдисон? Нет. Нет ее. Может она в ЕГСе? У меня ЕГСа нет. Ну, Мэдисон. А, вот она. Не, она еще не вышла. 8 июля. О, у меня, кстати, на следующий день ДР. Ну, у меня 9 июля ДР. Кстати, у меня, блядь, через 9 дней ДР. Охуеть. Хоть поздравьте меня. Напишите приятное что-нибудь. Что это такое? Он выльет сейчас просто это. Да еще рано поздравлять. 9-го поздравишь. Так, едем дальше.
What kind of angle is this? Oh my.
Грустный пон.
Go upstairs, fam. Go upstairs, you're struggling.
Look at this master builder right here. Let's check it out.
Обидно. Бля.
I've brought your night, Michael.
Seeing if my hamster cares about me.
Нет, хомяку похуй, чувак. Оу.
He's big too.
You play quarterback? Let me see your 3-step.
Go, big man.
Make a splash!
Sir, can you help me? My grandpa's just collapsed.
Up to the top, Sharpay Evans.
Че, я нихуя не понял, ладно. Это разработка африканских ученых? Ебать их много. У меня скоро тоже будет много таких. Что у меня кошка беременная. Игра началась, пон. Спасибо. Ну, хорошая зона для пройдов, только у них контест там намечается. Щенков? Да блин, бро, если бы у меня была своя квартира и... Ну да, как минимум. Я бы, может быть, завел себе собаку. Так, пока я постоянно в разъездах, я не могу, к сожалению.
Building this time geeky. I think that this kind of hugging that northern side. I think only one time did I see a fight not actually come out, and both teams kind of exited the city very peacefully. But Gaith, he's their entry fragger. He's the one that took out multiple members of the teams in that last final circle in that last room game. So he's still running hot, right? Blood rushing through his veins, and we do see an almost fight about to happen between 4K and Nassar.
A lot of potential fights happening here. More so, Anaconda being caught out as they have gone for a slightly wider split here. And also Nassar, a massive split, might I add, as well, from their overall positions here. So could be a little bit of a risk coming through from them, judging by the fact that Batika is so far up north. However, 4K, a major split is going to affect him. I think naturally, surprise.
Позиционка хорошая. Там уже какая-то заготовочка пошла. Да, есть подозрение, что про Фроздена знают. Сколько шансов у меня есть дописать тебе винс? 100%. Но если только мне какую-нибудь хуйню не пишешь, хуйню я сразу типа скипаю. Так я все сообщения читаю. Оп, кулачок.
Exactly. Pest controllers there and Nassar here to clean it up. Geek, Yalovo, they've got to pest each other here inside of this lobster building because both of them kind of taking up either other side of each of it for now and taking up arms ready for the fight, but none of them really wanting to take it completely. Now, which of them going to move first for the meantime?
Суета пропал, ну, помянем, что.
Stalemate indeed. Somebody in this chess game needs to sacrifice or make a move to
send a queen
try to turn this. Send the queen bombing into the middle of the pawns and see what will happen. And that queen is definitely going to be Gate, their entry fragger that usually tends to open up the fight on the front lines for them. The other members of 4K though, they got the targets on their back as Nassar. I don't know if he knows that there's somebody just hiding in this building here, but they just heard the footsteps. They're coming crashing in.
It's a absolute misery for 4K in this fourth game. They did split up. They did get punished as we expected. NASA just moving from house to house. A victory.
Ну видел же, можешь нокать Milky Way. Алло, блядь! Milky Way! Milky Way, блядь, что ты делаешь?
Who gets caught, a surprise.
Ну пиздец!
It's the two members of Falcons who come back, and it's Falcons who strike first in down among Kampong.
Seemed like such a fatal mistake
Ладно.
behind just a
Энген
low
тоже
wall for
нокнулся.
cover.
Ну, пиздец.
Pops out to the right, does a little bit of damage, but then obviously announces
Вот это хоть.
and then goes it for it one more time. But Frozen getting a little bit of quick revenge, getting enough to remember and going for immediate flush. But they also have another one falling down, so it's gonna be 2 versus the 3 of Falcons.
Crucial. There also, they don't lose one back. Frozen keeps themselves alive. Never Alone will match for that rotation as Yen in between the two of Pride have also been knocked. So it's actually essentially solo for solo, but Nomi much more in danger here is actually Falcons. They group up as 3. They will look to flush out here. The solo player of Major Pride, Nomi realizing it, trying to step back to a more behind position. Yen as well has now got themselves around for potentially that revive, but Never Alone.
Ну, меня сейчас тоже заберут. Зайцы просто прыгают на банниках на этих.
Falcons, though, with their piercing eyes, trying to find the information. He sees the play to the ground. Oh man, that was almost a mishap, but does find him out. I think maybe just wasn't quite close enough.
Ладно.
Somebody in the back footsteps, and once again, putting Pride down to a solo. Frozen this time. I want to say he was the one who won the 1v1 yesterday with Falcons in the blue zone, but now he is sent running for his life as everyone else is gonna go, just helping him from the dead, and he's gonna be playing as a solo.
Frozen is staying here for now. I mean, we'll loot up the unfortunate dead body of one of the fallen members of Falcons, and they're gonna play it sneaky. They're gonna go inside of the truck. So maybe we'll try to survive here for now and hope that Falcons do not spot them. Move on for the campaign.
А можно не смотреть дальше, в
The
принципе.
alternative, of course, Frozen could at least.
А, там же еще одна игра.
1-2 members, but it is extremely risky considering they are early on. They don't maybe have the tools to make that happen. GK have made them move forward. They have sent themselves all of the 4 queens inside. And Yala, they are the pawns that need to move now. They have the onus on them. This is
Это что, никак буткемп не поделят?
Yala, they're playing on the defenses as they hear the footsteps erupting all the way around them coming out from Geek. I mean, Yala, if they can do what they did yesterday, which was win the fight, turn the tides, they had a 1v2, I think, to turn the tides into their favor. They could win this one out again. But Geek, I know they're playing confident and they want to beat Yala out of this area before they make it into the final area. Gaith, he's got the flashbang actually throwing it into the likes of Yala.
Will stop the halt for now, but it will dissipate. Keep in mind also, flashbang being used to maybe silence the ability to hear the footsteps of GK.
Я не знаю, что там внутри, кто там что поймал, но мне что-то вообще не очень нравится их игра. Явно это не тот уровень игры, который все от них ждут.
Like they're going to just hold their breath a little bit longer as they see in the kill feed R8 finding the likes of Power onto the other side of the mountain. We also have Rad here. Looks like Triple Esports though being just the thorn in the side of everybody within the lobby and holding Kato not being able to exit out of this area. So push. I mean, he's laying down the pain right up towards the cave area, but haven't made the connections yet.
And Rod will be pushed back here, back into
Я ПМПЛ, напомню, как они сыграли. Вы не понимаете, это другое. И это другое.
Won't be fruitful though for now, but does give the position away as Rod, you can see, trying to make some little sneaky plays happen themselves.
Это прикол с банникопом, но когда ты на баннике перемещаешься, тебя не слышно вообще.
I mean, you see him zoom in, zoom out with the 6 times. Maybe I changed my angle. I can see him a little bit better. So Rad, I mean, he's
Рад не палец перефал. Ну посмотрим. Хотелось бы верить.
Sandhawk, so to be using them now are really going to just, take that away from them for the later game stages when they need to make that quick cross into that final circle. Here we do have Delhap. He's just waiting out on here. 4K looks like on the other side though. Rad biting off a little bit more than they can chew with multiple teams fighting.
Ну, Фрозну надо молиться, чтобы только напрокало. Типа плейсмент адекватный. Там в топ-5 войти уже хорошо будет. Потому что зона пока попахивает вот этим говном. Короче, вот где-то вот на вот этой высоте примерно будет. Не знаю, мне так кажется.
Keep in mind, the zone in phase 2 has gone continuously back towards the main point of the mainland Sanhok, but the fight's still continuing to happen here, or should I say really a standstill. Not really a fight for now, because it's 9 minutes and a half into the game, and not a single knock has happened.
This is Yala is currently in the positive. They're in the green for the number of times that they fought in bootcamp, so they don't want to ruin that streak. And then Geeke, they don't want to dig themselves any deeper of a hole by losing it one more time to Yala. So both these teams, what they're pushing all of their cards onto this one fight. So maybe Yala are winning bootcamp or not, but they're losing the time that it would take to rotate. And they're starting to mobilize Highland Wolf. Maybe we'll see some action yet.
A 1-for-1 finally as the 10-minute mark breaks through, but Yala, they were being pincered down by Geeke. We have the better angles on top of them, and they will lose 2 more. Yala Life is the only one available.
Ну, видимо, против тебя какие-то криворучки или кривоножки бы не хопят. Просто слышишь.
The only one remaining.
DBS and Hanny goes for the flush. It's going to be one gate, or Lath actually left alive from Yala as he pushes back with the Tommy gun. He's got the extended mag onto it and switches once more time on the DBS. I mean, he can't make up his mind at this point. Flipping back and forth, going for the flushes, waiting for someone to come out into the open in the doorways. Another one about to go face to face. The DBS comes out, he gets the knock, and it's going to be a 1 versus 1 to close out this fight.
Has the angle as well. They know that Satan is there. Satan makes the move further forward, but Life gets a heal off. Can they find a DBS shot once more? It's now Life falling on the window, waiting for Satan to be baited further in. Will not be the case, and now will find a revive onto Saif. No, it won't be. Will let them fall. Life as well down below. If Satan maybe decides to step further back for now. Satan will also fall down. Will Life go for the revive? Not really sure. Will finally go for it. No, they won't. Life putting all the cards on their own.
I mean, $1 million question of the hour, Highland. But Satan, I mean, he's going to push now. He's going for the aggression. He just gets the revive out, and it's the drop shot from Yala to finish out Geeke. So one more time, putting the tally on Yala's favor. Geeke, they just can't seem to win this fight in boot camp.
Yeah, it was just a smart decision by actually Aggressive Life to finally go for that revive later, and it was just a wrong target check by Geeke. They hit the wrong member who's already down and can't fire back, and Life they're free to open up through the staircase. Geeke fall down as R8 also making their moves down from that blue zone, very high up north too in the Paradise Resort area. Skyrocket will join alongside them. Is here finally also Geeke reduced down to 1. And you argue on the other hand of that, although Geeke, sorry, Yala should I say, come out.
А, стоп, я что-то пропустил, Фрозена нашли? Походу, да. А, нет, не нашли, он на дропе. Ишь какой. Да все, не надо хейтить никого, чуваки. Сидите, просто отдыхайте, чильте. Что нравится, то и смотрите.
Drop spot there. I think at this point, EK needs to reconsider this, right?
Ну, в принципе, норм. Для Вани хорошая зона. Только ему не надо сейчас плавать, ему надо сейчас выплывать как раз таки и пробовать где-нибудь отлеживаться. В принципе, здесь можно что-то... Можно какую-нибудь типа будку просто занять. Вот эту будку можно, наверное. Потому что к ней вряд ли кто-то будет подходить. Потому что она на дороге прям в опене. Если челики займут кемп, они не дадут просто к будке к этой подойти. Можно попробовать трайнуть.
Crown potentially your championship here in PMPL Arabia, making a risky decision like that really isn't the idea that you want to go forward into doing. And I think that very quickly in these next 2 weeks, a different strategy has to be made. RTG also going to find their own potential fight here versus Twisted Minds, but they lose one already, Twisted, and it's a quick reverse back by Nabo.
Their underwear twisted into a vice grip from the likes of Road to Glory. And Road to Glory, this is their map, right? This is where they feel the most confident, getting 2 chicken dinners on Sandhawk just a couple days ago and a huge, massive finish in the last. So, I mean, their IGL caught a little bit off behind, a little slower on the rotate, but they know how to play this map for sure, and they're not keen to losing one too early.
And it was crucial that RTG find that punish. Had they not found that punish,
Ну, потому что у него канал очень крупный. И плюс он хайпажор. Ну, типа, в хорошем смысле. Это неплохо. Мне это похуй, думаю. Кто там что смотрит, кто не смотрит. Я по факту стримлю только для своих челиков, плюс-минус. Но у меня в чате вы особо говна никогда такого не увидите. Да я сам на чиле на максимальном. Сейчас я приду, ребят, руки помою прям одну секунду. В жопе поковырялся просто.
Skyrockets, I mean, they're 2 in a car driving towards R8. They get the real critical knock onto R8, and it's gonna push the kind of gatekeeping from this team.
And for Skyrocket, it's great moves. Come sweep in behind. Rip will be able to find the extra punish, as you say. Now Skyrocket take advantage of the fact that R8 are split, cannot fire back either. And it's both of these teams making that longer route round onto the north side, but Skyrocket stay more together in respecting the fact that they are later into the zone and they have to be one unit to be able to push it.
Rosa in hand, spraying it through. He finds the knock onto one member of Falcon and goes for the immediate flush. No mercy at all, but it's going to garner all of the attention from the rest of the team, which is actually only going to be 2 Falcons left alive. Downhill, Darby might have a little bit of advantage point, but we have the one hiding in the water way in the far
Hold the кто это такой? Я так давно про него ничего не слышал. Я что забыл о его существовании. Да, Фордин, я с тобой в какой-то степени согласен. Ну, типа, челикам нравится, они же все еще продолжают там сидеть. Кстати, зона-то еще, тем не менее, хорошая. Еще можно пожить. Ну, так-то просто опен везде, вот тут. По сути, здесь может только там 4-5 команд находиться. И если потом еще next на воду будет, то типа Ванек нормально наживет. Так-то сейчас просто вот эту зону пережить главное. Ну, эту и следующую, и все. Просто вопрос, есть ли аптеки? Если есть аптеки, это вообще Гуччи. Если аптек нет, то это не Гуччи.
Can't really get out of this position. Damar is going to be just wait. I mean, this is the waiting game. He's got the high vantage point. Nowhere to run at this point, as we see a lot of action in the background. It looks like the only one versus Kurd 12. Uh-oh, we've seen multiple numbers do fall down.
Да, стань, блядь, со своей болдычем от меня. Я тут при чем? Я его 100 лет уже не видел, не слышал.
And Kurd just getting felled very, very early on. Is will fall down into the bottom position. Not a single elimination to show for it. The only one as well on their north end, still continuing to make their way in. It's going to be down towards Lakawi here, and the coastline is going to be where we finish off for this 4th game for the most part, as Nassar in amongst those few buildings, though, elsewhere, are finding the road members of Nigma, saying you will not hide in this game.
Will not hide. Will make our presence well known over here as only.
Блять, ну нахуя такое писать? Что дебил совсем, что ли? Придурочный.
Where they're just losing too many members at the beginning, and they are forcing themselves to play debilitated for the remainders of the match. NASA, they barely have their foot in the door of the circle. It's certainly going to shift away from them once again as Falcons and 4K.
Про игру золотой молодежи скажу, это кто? Золотая молодежь. Интересно.
And Damar was smart use, by the way, as well, who used the adrenaline actually previously to be able to heal the damage that the blue zone was doing at this phase 4 point, so had the actual advantage when it comes to being able to make
почему золотая молодежь? Что ж, типа, дорогой состав? Ну, пока мне не нравится, честно. Я немного большего ждал от них. Не знаю, может, они к финалу раздуплятся, но что-то пока не очень. Пока по моему мнению, они играют на 6 из 10 возможных. Ну, кстати, там есть кусочек хотя бы еще локай в зоне, нет? По-моему, нет. Там же, по-моему, горка такая, подъем. Я не помню вообще, вот эту местность вообще практически не помню. Вот как на локаве этот. А, кстати, тут уже нашли Фротена, мне Фротен уже не жилец, к сожалению. О, блядь, вот если бы сейчас Сайги попал, вот если бы попал Сайги, он бы нокнул. Но, сори. Вот плюс, типа, чем дробаш еще хорош, у тебя есть шанс на просто ваншотнуть чела, если ты лоу-хпшный даже.
But small, but 7 or a lot of eliminations found by Skyrockets. As I mean, they're doing so well to stay up alive and keeping the 4-man team up and really positioning themselves well to close out the matches. Triple Esports, another one, very great effort on their part. Still 4-man up as well.
Yeah, so 2 eliminations there by the Skyrockets, so they do at least get a few under their belt, but they can easily get more with their position on the edge as they are searching. Also, Triple searching for that position over on the car.
Сколько мне заплатили за комментаторство на канале по Mobile Russia? Да не очень много, ну, типа, меньше, чем всем остальным. Я в целом особо не жаловался. Точно не могу сказать, сколько. Ну, там по дням считалось, сколько эфирных дней. Хотя бы кормили, и то спасибо. Так все, правда, кормили, но пойдет.
As we see so many teams eliminated at the exact same time, Skyrockets losing one as well, getting the reset. Oh,
nice,
what was that throw? Bounced off the doorway, came right back into their faces. Triple Esports, though, taking the time here.
Мне, походу, не надо подрубать в те дни, когда пройды играют. Потому что я отборочные не смотрю, пройды там разваливают. Я включаю Super Weekend, пройды не разваливают.
It's all about trying to make that position work inside the zone, but there really is nowhere to hide. It's the outside of the zone where these players need to survive. There's RTG, Road to Glory, stepping in amongst the smokes, but it's not where the only one are hiding. It's behind the rocks with Ziad on the flanking position, but it's the only one who are needing to move in onto the zone. Here, back far away though, on the south side, is Raouf, who wins the 1v1 trade as well versus Raden. That's crucial, because as you can see further down, Lord's been tanking that zone for ages.
Но я не могу стримить отборы, я бы стримил их, я будни дни работаю. И сегодня тоже будний день, но так совпало, что сегодня у меня выходной, и я такой, ну почему бы не постримить? Я же по возможности всегда подрубаю.
All on Santa, because now they push with all the confidence in the world, trying to find this last player of the only one. He's just hiding, sucking his breath, trying to get in. If he could dig a hole in the ground, he would at this point, because Road to Glory, they're on the right side of the blue zone, and he's just tanking the blue.
Кем работаю? Тренером?
In the direction of Road to Glory.
You said that they may get 7 eliminations here, Monica. They're up to 6 now, and they're searching for that one more. You might have just blessed them here. Skyrockets are looking for that control in the zone. Is unfortunately the only one succumbing to the blue, to the pressure, but it opened a doorway to Skyrockets.
Skyrockets, this is just the redemption arc for them, as they are still 3-man. The Molotov,
Успел, nice.
Raouf is on fire and not in a good way, but he just
Побрал
gets the
Старсу,
off.
да.
The clutch one that actually prevented him from going out too early. Now Road to Glory changing their attention onto Skyrockets.
Crucial for Enigma, but Skyrockets are getting blown out of the water.
У меня чипсы закончились, кстати. Отстой. Я бы еще чипсов поел.
Finally, they will lose also Enigma. Their own is RTG. You said that they control Sandhog. Oh, golly, do they do just that? And it's 8 eliminations for themselves. Back down towards 3. Still going. 8 still, 7 remaining. This man has been healing for the last 6 minutes, Monica, and he ain't stopping anytime soon.
I mean, if it's a map to do it on, it is going to be Sandhawk, and we see this happen when we have a full-man team. They just dominate this end circle. I mean, this is the strat to do. Even though they're a little bit low on eliminations, only one, he just outlived probably the last 9 placement points.
Сколько я в месяц трачу на чипсы энергосы? 0. Энергосы я вообще не пью. Чипсы я крайне редко ем. Я вообще не очень люблю чипсы, я только, ну, типа, с пивком. Да и то, я бы какую-нибудь прикольнее бы закуску выбрал для пива, но, типа, во-первых, просто чипсы, они дешевые, и плюс, ну, они относительно нормально под пиво заходят. А так вообще я крайне редко чипсы ем.
Freak in his natural habitat. He sips on in the monster energy. J9 also going to do a dance, just living it up to that success. As RTG will finally get it. $1,000 in their hands. The 15 points too in that chicken dinner. Winning all the same.
Name a better duo than Road to Glory and Sandhawk, because time and time again, they just dominate this map. I mean, they came in from the quarry area. They rotated here. It wasn't that far from them, a little bit further than some of the matches from
Так, чё, видосик? У нас остается одна игра. Я думаю, что они разобьются сейчас. Прям сейчас.
Шестка, Ryzen 5, 2600. Нужно очень...
Look at that guy. That is the ultimate fighter. Oh man, this is madness. This is madness.
Крыс прикольный.
Niente, insisti per formare analisi. Messi parte lo stesso!
Attention!
Бать, что? Ну я понял. Я думал, просто типа на этом будет на... Эта хуйня, господи, называется... Турвальчик. Назовем его так. Сосок. Арабский ПМПЛ пошел. Ебать, а что здесь произошло?
Ready?
I got these jeans here. They have these really cool rips at the knees that just look.
Woman moment. Бля, какая же пизда рыбе там. Её ж, по идее, очень жестко. Электричеством. Жесткий челик. Sometimes it's just enough. Так, едем дальше. Ой, это, кстати, электрическая мешалка для сахара. У меня есть такая. Супер бесполезная хуйня.
Which one?
Тот самый момент. Че? А птица вообще пофиг.
Literally hack it.
СНГ мемы какие?
You can tidy it up later on. See, it's a nice straight line.
Hey, make sure not to your shirt, buddy.
Ну почти, нормально. Это когда мне еду привозят курьеры, примерно так же. Пизда, Ярик, бачок потек. А что они делают? Не пытай. Это чисто мои друзья. Вот так такой же хуйней вот спокойно могут сделать вообще изи. Там кто-то стол ебанул, что ли? А за что, тупая? Так тебе надо. И обязательно получится, красава. Ля какой, ля какой. Блин, я вспоминаю видео, помните, где типа чел орёт такой: мам, мам, у нас какой-то типа страшный кот во дворе, а там просто кот сидит в ахуе в полном. Очень страшный. О, у меня же сухарики еще есть, точно, забыл совсем. Чисто челика в магазин послали за хавку. Классика. Вот, такая жиза, пиздец. Юмор от казаха, понял, понял. Спасибо. Я каждый день этот юмор от казахов слушал. У меня в команде, блядь, 3 казаха. О чем речь?
I just learned today that you're supposed to put your silverware in the drawer on its side.
Так, кстати, там нет еще. Не того самого. Не, еще болтают. Сейчас уже старт, по идее. Просто команда Navy Seals. Ебать. Кстати, скоро лан будет в Казахстане. Они будут играть там. Ну там не фулл состав будет, только казахи. Anyway. Я бы с удовольствием тоже скатался, но на меня, к сожалению, бюджет не выделили. Там буду издалека.
Come on, full court. Is you ready to know the lines? Full court. Oh, I got an extra one. Oh, we lit! What the fuck?
Буду ли я стримить лан? Кстати, в теории да. Возможно.
По пузику его. Кто-то там просил вчера по пузу почесать, Витюха.
Wait.
Ну, кстати, на лане все будет, типа, команда казахские. Там и Калина Пауэр будет, и Слай, и Титаны. Так, что там? О, как раз вовремя. Во. Самолет опять фулл говна. Блять, у них все одинаковые самолеты. Вообще все. И зона сейчас смотреть. Либо сюда, либо сюда. Вот, блять, не знаю, мне прям так кажется.
Whereas nowadays, Major have actually spotted it. Well, if R8, they're going to go down south to Primorsk. Actually, now Georgia Pole is free, and they may do that again.
Вон.
So we see
Постановка это прям вообще дефолт. Почти все зоны на Эрангеле, они захватывают основку.
Is not in here. So I think here they just don't want to take that heat, don't want to contest that city against a team like Falcons. However, on the back end side of that, we do see, I want to say that's Yala actually driving through the midst of Road to Glory, trying to get all the way up to Severny.
Лан будет где? В Нур-Султане, по-моему.
I'm wondering if they'll just kind of allow it, ignore it, and just continue looting up for themselves.
Не, ну в целом, типа, если у меня какая-нибудь добрая душа купит билет туда, в Казахстан, и поселит меня где-нибудь, я с удовольствием скатался бы.
Interested to see if Triple will continue to stay around that western bridge, as they tend to be a bit more split out early on, but considering phase 1 here coming into phase 2, maybe will contract themselves to focus.
Лан будет 10 июля, а у меня 9 день рождения. То есть, типа, 9 в теории, типа, вылетать надо, как раз день рождения. Ничего, никто не хочет мне подарок делать.
Are waiting for that second phase to see where it really will go.
Major pride, you know, the plane path was so far to the southern side, they've all just kind of cramped into one vehicle and then started driving up to that South Georgia Pole area, which, you know, is out of the circle, so they're definitely going to be one of the newcomers coming in, where, you know, driving all the way out, having to come all the way back in. So we'll see how that sets up for them. We see Enigma Galaxy.
Нет, там на лан билеты, по-моему.
You know, like people hot dropping Pachinki and classics type of deal.
По-моему, надо покупать билеты.
I'm expecting a lot more from them. They slowly clawed their way a little higher in the overalls, but I'm waiting for a chicken dinner from Enigma Galaxy.
И вы из Лазы, из какой?
Цена
вопроса? А сколько билеты сейчас Нур-Султан стоит?
Felt like an age to get to that second position, and this time though, as we say, Pachinki, they tend to play a lot slower again here, and teams tending also to leapfrog
Откуда Москва, Нур-Султан? Когда, допустим, 9-го, обратно 11-го.
Passing them Pachinki,
так,
then having to do more work later, it just feels like they're playing it a bit too slow.
Yeah, definitely. I usually see that kind of play style coming up from a team that plays more edgy, like Yala in Severny, or even Skyrockets now going down to the military
посмотрим на вопросы. Слишком жесткие фильтры, в смысле? Какие жесткие, блядь, фильтры?
This is kind of the shining team, right? The one that has 3 chicken dinners
Ну,
so far
как...
on super weekends. You get this average survival time.
Ну вот, 9 июля.
The Erangel matches, they last
31,
30, 32 minutes, depending on how far it goes.
Обратно 11-го. 22 тысячи билеты. Плюс, типа, 3 дня где-нибудь пожить.
or even
Сколько?
longer
9-й, 10-й, ну да.
survival time, which is not a lot of time spent in the game.
And I think as well, when you talk towards Geeky, and I think this also goes for actually not just them, but the rest of the organizations that are new to this season, is it has been a very impressive showing by the new dog, stepping in front of teams like Falcon,
Ну да, плюс-минус
Huawei,
30к.
who haven't done potentially as well so far in the tournament. And I think for the likes of Power, for Major Pride, for Geeky, all of them in their own right, as we say, very aggressive teams. And almost increases the level, which surprises me. I don't know about you, Monica, but an aggressive region already into something
Здорово,
that's
здорово.
even next level when it comes to the aggression that these teams are putting out.
I don't know how much more aggressive they can really go beyond just full
Ну, я называл еще
setting into
бокалом вазу.
compounds
А что
and
за ваза там
such,
была? Я
but
уже забыл.
the only one I'm a little bit hopeful
Это
for
вообще не
them
помню.
because
Здорово,
I mean,
красавчик.
every single match today so far, they've just lost 1 or 2 or even 3 way too early to the point it was just one player trying to survive all by himself. And in this kind of PMPL high level lobby, you can't really just
Дальше можно улететь из рэп. Да много
guard the
куда?
entire lobby like you can do in a classic.
Triple still continuing to loot up, but of course a lot of these other teams are going to continue their looting phase. They have moved here Triple into more of that
Мистер говно?
triangular
Да нет,
formation,
почему?
so beginning to, as we say, close around more of that western bridge as we expected to, trying to avoid teams contest them on this second phase because they do want to have that control, that choice in the decision of where that zone will go. Of course, Skyrocket as well, a slower team, keep in mind, over on that South Island, the only ones will have to make their own decision crossing either on that western bridge where it looks to be kind of facing out on Triple for now, or depending if it goes towards that second phase, that more easterly side.
Ну ты же сам написал из РФ, и ты пишешь типа Сочи. Сочи это же, блядь, есть РФ. Камон, ты чё?
Probably their quickest rotation, I would say, of the day so far, coming out of Pachinki. Remember that first?
И, кстати, даже, по-моему, в Европе не все закрыто. Но я, кстати, особо не интересовался этим вопросом.
Circle that they were still sitting in Pachinki and just starting to get into their vehicle.
Да можно как-то же попасть по-любому.
At least exiting out of the city, I think they found themselves a pretty central position now. So I'm hopeful for them.
Warzone Mobile по версии шутер без понятия. Я очень жду его тоже и хочу потестить.
There goes around, of course, the rest of Twisted Minds. And I think for Twisted Minds, one of these teams.
Камон, чел ты крышел. Ну я просто, видишь, я пытаюсь быть наравне с молодежью, так скажем. Чтобы не совсем старым казаться.
When it comes to that first Super Weekend, is it now that first day nerves or potentially that psychology hitting him down? Because, of course, keep in mind, they barely qualified. They came in 15th position coming into this league stage, and they haven't actually had a good game so far either. Today, they've been one of the few teams that haven't had at all really any points to show.
Curd 12, they've landed kind of in that general Milta area, still staying in the spot. I think they've done well where they're just kind of coming a little bit out of the city. They are, it looks like just kind of hugging down to the beach side here. Remember, this is the compound that Twisted Minds has taken up multiple times. So interesting to see them not take up this little shark fin compounds here.
Геймплей Warzone?
Yeah, Curd 12 coming off the
скинь, я
win
почекаю
in
потом.
the second match. I haven't really seen
Я просто не представляю, как
do quite as well.
столь динамичный шутер на мобилке придется играть. Наверное, будет крайне сложно, но не знаю. Как-то адаптирует управление.
Indeed, as the second phase finally will shift and we'll get a bit more clarity here, Monica, on our final game of where this zone will be going. Very, very subdued for now as RTG, Major Pride, RA all going to continue to make their way in onto the zone. SK Ton there for RA already claiming that high ground hill on that more quarry side. Will have that information ahead of them as the zone did shift over to that eastern side, so we are going to see another potentially eastern side finish and Skyrocket, I assume, as we expect, alongside the rest of these other teams, all going to head that way in towards the bridge.
All right, you know I have to point out, there's still a little bit of the military base island.
No,
in
don't,
this circle.
Monica,
It's like, oh,
the
no.
last game.
Oh my days, not again.
ТГ, кстати, ссылка на мой ТГ есть в описании, чуваки. Кто еще не подписан, советую подписаться. Там типа анонсы стримов и всякое-всякое. Так что в описании ссылка на мой ТГ-канал, залетайте. Можешь, кстати, туда его скинуть. И где-нибудь в комментах под последним постом. Или под предпоследним. Я почекаю.
Are all going to be in together as Shaq as Nigma will rotate behind him for now, of course, trying to look ahead towards Ra to control more of that.
И крутые фоточки, да.
In a lot of these teams who rotating further out,
Это трапы, если что.
on the backside of the zone, going to have a big advantage in a big shift like this, because especially spots like RTG now can look towards those positions like Shelter, like Prison Hill, which are still open and on the edge of the zone, where they won't be as contested, won't be as locked down as potentially some of these teams as we can see in the zone currently.
Да, сейчас бы сытые нулевые. Они вот это вот все. Раньше было лучше. Так, алло, в 2008 уже кризис был уже. Это год 2005-7. Это были, мне кажется, самые вкусные годы.
I like it like Chris. It means it's also controlled by all of these teams not willing to take too much risks and will be able to make those more informed rotations later with all of those players still up.
Да, и Бак Нави я видел вместо Квизи.
Does begin to spill, and it's GK who are losing out on all of it. Is Falcons will strike down a mega series of triple knocks, and it's only going to be Satan remaining. Powerful, trying to hunt them down, but they have the vehicle. They will be speedily away out of the fight, but claim now Falcons.
Противожон же с МД, думаю, будет.
Oh man, it was GK. I mean, I feel like I'm always just jinxing them. I'm like, oh no action yet, and then all of a sudden, in one fell swoop, 3/4 of the entire team of GK, our #1 team on the leaderboard, does go down. So I mean, it's Liv Satan. He's just
Да, и Бак вернулся.
Он
особо не уходил никуда, он так чисто в каких-то миксах поигрывал. Блин, больше я настолько старый, что я еще помню те времена, я даже еще играл с ним тогда, когда у него был ник пижама енота. Помните? А, помните? Как же это было давно. Алды есть?
Already being in a qualifying position for the finals. It's all about right now GK just trying to make sure that they don't have to worry about that third week, confirming their position alongside a lot of these.
Ой, какая зона, ёбаный-бобаный. Через Новореп не ошибка. Не ошибка. Возможно, сейчас закрутят за зоной. Это вообще не ошибка.
Eastern shift once more, and Milta is not the place that these teams wanted to really fight it out for, because now the zone is already engulfed those bridges, so you can't make a sneaky rotation around the south side like some teams would do in a situation, whereas instead now...
Вот 4, да больше даже, их 4. Лет 6 назад. Пиздец. Да, я тоже помню. Еще был такой пиздатый челик. Тоже как-то играли вместе. Был Янг Сани. Он еще, по-моему, на лан ездил в Минск. Это такой чел с дредами был. Пиздатый чувак. Вот, и у него сигнатурочка была берстовка с 8. Ебать, он поливал с нее жестко.
Gonna be just waiting in the back, collecting up onto this one, and Twisted Minds, whatever happened to them?
They got erased, is what happened to them. The delete key got pressed, and yeah, just took free ones. Is there, unfortunately, for
Twisted. По-моему, самый первый лан по PUBG вообще, на котором даже Кейк играл, это вообще рофл. Просто стример. Ну там в целом почти все стримеры играли. Просто чтобы игру запушить. Когда только PUBG еще вышел. Да я не знаю, когда кто там что кого обгонит. Что ты, блядь, вопросы меня закидываешь? Чел, просто сиди и смотри, наслаждайся игрой. Что-нибудь попроще. Давай.
and remind me
Без
now,
обид,
my little
но просто не души.
had gotten their chicken dinners out. Yes, Skyrocket, they've gotten their chicken dinners, but Falcon hasn't gotten their slice of the pie yet, and they need it to jump a little bit higher in the standing. So I like their vantage point now. They're keeping all 4 ups, 4 eliminations found already. So I'm hoping, I'm sending good vibes their way to hopefully make something out of this match.
Yeah, you can see, of course, the live standings right now on the top of your screen if you haven't noticed them already. And actually, Falcons, interestingly enough, ahead of Kurt 12. So these will actually, I think, even more lead right now are Falcons currently. Yes, they had that one great game, but you can see only 25 points, Monica. They had poor games all outside of their one.
Я сейчас просто перестану чат читать. Заебали.
They really need those points, and punishing for the only one is a good way to start it, but they're so far away from those knocks that they're finding that they won't realistically be able to find the elimination points from those knocks itself.
Yeah, that far away, you get a knock. They have ample cover and time to, crawl somewhere safe, get their revives. Who is not safe here, though, is Major Pride, as they just keep getting dealt bad cards in this poker game. Super.
Поплыли бы через Новолепку, сейчас бы вот сюда заплыли.
Only 3 man left standing, taking this fight against R8 out into the blue zone.
It's not over till the last card falls, so in Major Pride are trying their best.
Ой, хорош Ян.
It's a beautiful behind shot.
Плюс 4.
The R8 member out with the vehicle, and they cleanly dispatch of
Привет,
R8
привет.
in this game. And Major Pride, though, still a lot more to do. As they're coming in from that north side shelter, but it's a south.
Мне кажется, можно трайнуть в мильту залететь. Надо просто посмотреть, что там вообще происходит. В целом не ошибка. Какой-нибудь один дом отжать.
Triple gonna make the smoke road in. Of course, it needed 2 extra revives to come through. Both Push and Jawaz are down, but look at Skyrocket. It might be disaster because they spy out the smokes. It looked like they want the eliminations for it. Easy tumbles over, he's so eager. It now goes down into half HP territory.
О, понятно. Обсерверы, как дела? Что с лицом?
Losing out will fall away in Clever. The only one here now is they're trying their best. They're down to 75% HP, and it's a full squad of Skyrocket on their back.
Triple Esports, now solo Esports as Clever, trying to hold it down for his team. The smoke is going to plummet. He's going to be by himself. You see the grenades all come out and trying to find a little nick of him, but they are tossed a little bit too far. Rip throwing yet another one into the depths. Over here does so much damage, but Clever is not going to go out quite yet. This one could be a good one, as Clever is still waiting here, and it does finally put him down into his grave.
Как в лесу отдохнул. Охуенно, это просто пиздец. Я 14 июля тоже поеду в лес, там на фестиваль на 1. Инсомния называется, может кто-то знает. Там тоже 4 дня в палатках в лесу. Потом в августе мы опять тоже поедем в поход в глушь. Короче, я пиздец проникся вот этой всей походной тематикой, когда ты вообще забываешь, что у тебя есть телефон. И просто наслаждаешься, уединяешься с природой. Это так охуенно, вы не представляете. Каждое утро просыпаться под пение птиц, открывать палатку, и у тебя, блядь, лес вообще глухой просто. А еще, кстати, прикиньте, на нас ночью напал ебучий енот. Енот и какие-то еще хуйни. Мы оставили кучу жратвы в лагере, легли спать, потому что до этого 2 дня мы ее оставляли, и никто у нас ничего не пиздил. А тут мы просыпаемся, у нас просто лагерь весь разъебан, вся еда просто сожрана, то, что оставалось там на улице возле костра. И банки все перевернутые, перекосоебленные, и там просто типа такие маленькие следы лапы. Я такой, ну, наверное, это, блядь, еноты. Или какие-нибудь, я не знаю, кто там еще это мог быть. Лисы, может быть. Да, енот был в пижаме. И бах, просто прибежал, сожрал всю еду.
They have no way to move inside this open space. You can see this is open fields territory.
This is just caught with their pants down and 1 car in a hay bale to call as cover.
Пройди в зоне, хорошо. Будку бы, конечно, отжать, которая вот там чел сидит. Про вот это вот. Или там не будка, не, будка выше, по-моему, там, по-моему, просто сено. Да, блядь, обсерверы, сука, почините хуйню свою. Боже мой.
RTG Nabo continuing to move in is now struggling here. RTG to continue on the fight.
У них 2 потери. Еще нокнули, кстати, кого-то там. Ну, они должны резнуться, по идее.
They both dropping, unfortunately. RTG gonna fall down. Oh, so should I say NASA down to RTG here as 4 of them are going to be taken down in eliminations up towards them. K12 now moving further in onto the zone 2, making their move on the edge.
I like the edge, the southern edge, so they still have a
Всё,
way
минус
to get
пройди.
out. Major
Всё.
Pride going out this time in 11th position. Enigma Galaxy. This is probably their best game of the day yet because they still have all 4 members of their team up. We see Falcons though. I mean, you know that they're going to be setting themselves up real well for this match because they're on that eastern side. Nobody is behind them, around them. They can just all look forward and focus on taking the shots onto Enigma Galaxy. And everything that's happened, Skyrockets, everything is going wrong for them.
Да, нами будут играть на Европе.
Sending it in each way. They only get 1 inside. They get to second though. Rip and easy there. But they will be ripperoning them sent into pepperonis as Enigma make themselves a pizza and a skyrocket flavor.
That pizza was burnt to a crust as it was a completely indigestible. Enigma Galaxy, though, come with the huge, massive team fight win here as Falcons just hearing the shots and wanting to get a piece of this action. But they're going to be clearing out either side. We're focusing on that northern side. Road to glory. Can they continue their trek of winning into the bottom of this building?
The Falcons, they have a brilliant angle on this more eastern side. A lot of these teams, of course, fighting through the west, but the zone going towards them naturally helping Falcons here because a lot of these teams busy in their own fights on the opposite end of that zone. So we'll have a slightly more peaceful game, finally getting into some skirmish territory, but not as hard as RTG, who only have a rock, who have a Cartman name, but Rad, they say, you will not live with us, I'm afraid, and J9 will fall down.
They really split themselves up. You saw Nabu and you saw
Так это не монстр, вообще это пиво, алё, блядь. Белый монстр. Ты чё, камень, совсем что ли, блядь?
Found out, so another one bites the dust. We're into our top 8. Falcons still ascending high and keeping their eyesights on all of these teams down below in
Я энергос не пью. Ну, очень редко.
Have their own position though, like Falcons, very comfortable, even more so now as that zone has gone towards them, and Yala, they've got the position, they have this game in their hands currently. The only other location that has compounds up to now, Enigma, to take control of that, but Enigma very much occupied.
КБ норм пиво Евротур за 59, надо, кстати, чекнуть будет сказать. Пиво за 59 это вдохновляет. С одной стороны, да, а с другой стороны, пиво за 59 звучит страшно. В смысле, когда Агдер был ботом собирающим хилки? Ты чё пишешь такое? Так не говори, понял? Дамир всегда хорошим саппортом был. Да блин, вообще пьяница какой-то сидит. Чё, вопросами какими-то тупыми закидывает, а теперь еще пишет бред. Без негатива. Чё такое, принц? Чё хотел? А, принцесс у тебя, да, принцесса. Здоров, Леон.
For the second consecutive time, shifting over into the direction of Falcons as Yusuf put down onto his knees, but far enough away with a little bit of a hill.
Потом геймплей Warzone Mobile, да, погнали, погнали. Сейчас досмотрим.
Yala, we've seen some great stuff come out from them, but right now the focus is going to be Enigma Galaxy clearing out this team that is going to be rad just a little bit north of them. I don't know.
Евротур из Германии, нихуя. Но надо будет попробовать.
And Yala, very comfortable in this next shift still. Were comfortable, but did allow next door neighbors around to enter in.
Где зона пляж, тупо пляж.
Don't have a home. You can see trying to use that small dip at a hillside into the beach, but it only provides so much protection. The moment they step over, you can see the pot shots being laden out.
В семье пуговиц произошла трагедия, батю пришили. Да. Это тебе, наверное, к Лаки. Лаки тоже любит всякие анекдоты прикольные травить. Там про ученых каких-то, которые что-то там открывают или что-то там разрабатывают.
They're just waiting here. I mean, this is everyone's just biding their time, keeping an eye on the circle and seeing where they'll be forced to go next.
Yusuf here as well, trying to, of course, find that angle for Falcons. They've been rotating slowly around. Is here still the zone, even power alive on the edge. It's about these surviving moments for these final teams, but it is all about the control of Yala, who have.
Нет, у нас демократия, все верно.
Position still given towards them. It has gone, on the other hand, though, towards more of that south end. So it's deliberately moved now away from Yala.
Если не душу.
And puts now in the position where all the teams will eventually have to make that move. And Falcons, they're going to have to defend first for now. Nigma and Ra, they find one of them to a Modi. That will be the crucial beginning knock that they require. But now as Nigma begin to separate.
A little scared for Enigma Galaxy because they are on one side, Falcons shooting down onto them, and Rad also using this as.
Чел, сейчас молик заползешь, не надо.
Quite yet, Falcons still for 7 eliminations found, lobbing a utility over the top, but they said no thank you and gave it right back to Yusuf in his.
Коммунизм Рил отставить, что-то мимо. Как показывает практика, не лучший метод правления, модель правления. В целом как жизнь? Да в целом нормально. В целом норм. Есть пару траблов, правда, небольших, но это так. Это все бытовуха. Это вопрос времени и финансов, так что все окей. Не, я не исключаю этого факта, что ты норм чел. Просто вопросы у тебя какие-то пьяные. Либо ты настолько тонко, что толсто рофлишь, либо ты пьян. Либо ты, да. Короче, ты понял.
Boomper now sends an 8 over onto Powerful, sidesteps it away from now, but the Mar needs revive in his reset.
Парень, в общем, неплохой, только сытый и глухой. Да.
Aggression, but it's Rad to punish from the opposite end, from their dying breath. May have saved Falcons in this game as they are up to 12 eliminations.
Бля, чуваки, пожалуйста, давайте только без политоты, я вас умоляю. Вот что угодно, блядь. Вот без политоты, без этой всякой вот этой вот, да. Как бы не надо.
The advantage is to them right now because it's a 4 versus 3, and you see how confident they're playing here as Damar drives right up into the faces of Datan, taking the 1 versus 1 just on the edge.
Виста проигрывает из-за проблем в теме, да, блядь, у них вообще, походу, целый комплекс проблем, который еще начинался с самого старта.
Move their way in, but powerful core on the edge. That's it. Excellent punish that you need from Yala to equalize the fight. And now they move further in, though. Falcons on the other end strike back their own one onto Catan and send them back down into a one-man disadvantage. It's safe, misses, kills their own team.
Ставлю на Фалконов тут. Без шансов для Яла, к сожалению. 0 позиций, вообще ничего нет. Да выйди, чел, я же инфа. Ну алло. А, он пошел нокнутого добивать. А, и даже не добил его, блядь. Происходит. Пиздец. Давай, второго нокни еще, ага, давай. Не, ну почти. Вот он, кстати, еще чуть-чуть и нокнул бы его. Чё, где цыпочки с фотки? Так это же, я говорю, это трапы были, приезжали. Трапы по вызову. Ой, блядь. Чё, погнали видос посмотрим? Да, чел так смотрит, как будто он вкинулся жестко. Геймплей погнали, посмотрим Warzone. Mobile. И чё, где геймплей этот? Check.
Almost 2 weeks. A week ago I already informed you about any news with my videos on my channel, and now in this video I want to show you an uncut gameplay of Warzone alpha test in which
Кстати, карта Верданск. Это радует, потому что Верданск я пиздец хорошо выучил, когда играл еще в Warzone.
And every little detail like weapons reload animations, parachuting.
Выглядит сыровато пока, крайне сыро.
Different vehicles, voice lines.
Ну, графон норм.
Shields, the Nova gas when reducing the circle, and other highly interesting features which we only know from Warzone for PC and console. So stay tuned until the end, check out the full gameplay and comment your opinion, thoughts, or wishes about the new mobile title in the comments section. Otherwise you can follow my Warzone mobile telegram.
Погнали. Бля, карта вообще один в один, походу, как в ПК. Как они уместили? Сколько она будет весить? Гигов 20, наверное? Или что? Ну, хотя бы парашюты видно все уже со старта, на том спасибо. У тебя резко чел не заспавнится в спине никакой. Здания точно такие же. Карта та же. Норм. Прогруз, правда, долгий. Да хотя в PUBG то же самое. Тоже долгий прогруз. Но мувмент приятный. Прям видно супер плавные анимации пока что. Плюс-минус как в ПК. Они еще допилят это? Да я понимаю, что это альфа. Но уже выглядит неплохо. Сейчас чел разберется, как вылезать здесь.
Dropping into the AO.
А гулаг здесь, интересно, есть? Да, есть.
Up, soldier. You're up here and you return to the front line. But if you lose, you're done. You're up, soldier. Now go sort this fucker out. You're going back to the front line. You've earned it.
Я так по этой карте соскучился, пиздец. Зачем они выпустили это тупое обновление слияния с Вангардом? Какая конченая карта, конечно. И пушки тоже конченые, супер. Устали. Короче, ну я понял. В целом норм. А, кстати, что по транспорту? Как здесь управление? Перспективы, да, пиздец есть. Неплохие. Если разрабы не заебланят все, как в ПК в Warzone, в целом может даже что-то и хорошее получиться в плане киберспорта. А чё с вертом сейчас, сек? Как он? Ну, я понял, ладно. Понял, принял, записал. Ладно, чё, чуваки. На сегодня все. Пойду чил. Всем спасибо, кто был. Давайте до next стрима. Чекайте в ТГ анонсы. Подпишитесь, ссылка в описании обязательно, кто еще не подписан. И, короче, ждите next стрим. Давайте, всех обнял, всем пока. Так, сейчас, секунду. Все, съебался. Пока-пока.
Ай, блядь.